Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Giant Slayer TFT Set 2 finale. Man, this has been a whirlwind of a set, and I can't be more happy to cast this with the one and only Mortdog. Welcome to the stream.
Welcome, everybody. We've reached the end of Rise of the Elements, and exciting to see all these top players and how they finish it off.
Yeah, it has been crazy. We had a whole day yesterday playing the preliminaries and the semifinals of this event, and we had 32 of the best players in NA and EU from Lobby 2 playing, and we are down to our final 8. We've got Broccoli, Salvyyy. We've been told multiple things to say for this name, so I'm just going to say we're going to say Zaza here, even though it says 5454. And I know, Mort, you had another name for that.
Yeah, I'll do that later.
We'll get there. We got NarkezEU, DarkHydra TFT, the Water Bear, MismatchedSocks, and Gunmay. And these 8 players are playing for their share of a $1,000 prize pool. And that is going to break down to the $500 for first place, $250 for second, $150 for third, and $100 for fourth. We're going to be playing 4 different lobbies here for set 2. And man, this is just going to be, it's going to be great. I'm excited. I know we've been, Mort, you've been streaming set 3. I've been playing a lot of set 3 on PBE, but we're back one last time for set 2. What are you expecting to see here, Mort?
I think we're going to see a lot of really top-level play. If you went back and watched some of the VODs from the semifinals yesterday, we saw a lot of really good executions that people weren't expecting. The way MismatchedSocks, for example, played his lobby and turned like a really bad start into a top 2 was really great. I'm expecting also to see a lot of Zeds. I think Electric's been on the rise. People are going to be racing to see who can get that Zed first, hopefully get that first, give them that 14 points. So yeah, should be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, Mort. I don't think it's going to happen, but I really want to see 6 Woodlands in this tournament. Like, you know what? The money is one thing, okay, but let's take a wild ride in the very last tournament for set 2.
That would be good. I'd also love to see a like 3-star 5 cost, maybe like a Zed. We didn't see that after the last patch, or maybe the Lux with the 99,999 damage.
I want to see something crazy. I mean, yes, the players are probably just going to try to win and go standard, but man, I want to see something crazy. They'll get points from me. And
Nice.
we're jumping right in here. More, what are you seeing as some of the best items to pick up off of the opening carousel?
I think it's pretty popular right now to start picking up the sword, try to get that early GA. Locket with NLR has also been another big one for you, the Locket, the Morello. And then I think tier also, you can try to get the early static, like MismatchedSocks went tier here, get that early static Shiv or Seraphs, which opens up a lot of viable options. So I think any of those are good choices for Rise of the Elements.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of early Thornmails as well. People have really been liking the Thornmail lately, and it's definitely been a good item early, mid, and even late game too.
Yeah, Bramble Vest is really good for getting that early win streak. It blocks all the crits, so that means 25% of your attacks are doing less damage, as well as just like, because it's flat damage is really good early against those 1-star units that are in the early game, so you can get a lot of power if you can get an early Bramble Vest.
Yeah, definitely a strong item, and man, you put it on a Leona and it's just so hard to kill.
Oh yeah. Yeah, any of the Wardens too, because remember, Wardens is also a percentage armor increase, and so they're just getting even more armor from that. So definitely a good way to play that.
Absolutely, and man, it is crazy seeing so much gold in this early round.
Yeah,
so much.
I want to call out here Water Bear doing a really advanced tactic, almost unnecessarily, but just in case. He's going to solo with just the Renekton, just in case he hits a breakpoint here. It's one of those top level plays you see that not many people do, but just in case he hit that breakpoint, that could have got him an extra gold, which would have chained into so much more.
Yeah, and it is the smallest of margins here that could end up being what puts you over the edge here in the set 2 finale tournament, and it's definitely something I would have been sweating there if I did that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he knew that like being on the Inferno Hex there gave him just enough power to make sure that could happen. So really smart play.
That's definitely the difference between myself and these top 8 players who were already pulled from a pool of the 32 best players in NA and EU. So definitely a knowing what to do there. And we did see that Econ hit early here by Water.
So he hit the 10 gold breakpoint. Now I'm watching the side here to see if anyone levels to 4. Not as popular of a move in Rise of the Elements right now, since it's all about building Econ. And it looks like no one's going to push 4 yet, but
yeah, no one's pushing 4 yet, and we don't really see anything too crazy here. An early Kindred for Water Bear is definitely an interesting one, and could be pointing them towards a build here. But maybe we can jump over to Salvyyy and see what they're doing in these early rounds, see if anything is developing here. We do end up seeing the early items put on the Kindred here just to try to get that first win. Water Bear is definitely favoring the early win streak.
As I mentioned, that early Locket can be a lot of power, but unfortunately the Zyra with the Shojin is a lot of offensive power.
Giving them the plants!
If DarkHydra can turn on Inferno early, that can probably take DarkHydra to a good win streak. So here's Salvyyy.
Jump over to Salvyyy, who also picked up that first loss here. Now, do we see a lot of the players dictate the rest of their rounds by their first result? So do you think we're going to see the players who won really pushing for that win streak, and the players who lost maybe embracing the loss streak?
I don't think it's as important in Rise of the Elements. I'll just say Broccoli leveled to 4 there. But again, it's also like looking at what items you get. So Salvyyy here, for example, only having the red buff or Warmog's options is sort of probably looking at a low roll here. And so he's probably going to be considering the loss streak. You can see also he's just trying to really figure out his build. He's running the mages right now, but without the Morello, without the tiers, I think he just kind of is accepting that this is a early loss streak.
Yeah, definitely only able to take out the one unit there, not quite getting anything. But
I was just going to comment that I was surprised that he didn't sell for the Econ there, but then right as you see, he did, accepting the loss streak, selling most of his bench to get to 20 gold there. So
yeah, but Mort, if you don't get those early wins, how are you ever going to win in the late game, Mort? I thought, isn't that how that works?
With Rise of the Elements not having spatulas on carousel, it certainly is a little more like challenging to come back. But as you can see here, he just did a complete pivot, got out of mages, and went to the glacial build with the Ezreal. So gives another option there.
Yeah, Ezreal definitely one of the late set bloomers, a couple of buffs here and there, and I think people really embracing the glacial mechanic after those buffs have really put Ezreal in a good spot in the early and mid game for sure.
Yeah, as I mentioned with Bramble Vest being flat damage, really strong. Glacial, very similar because it's flat damage, really strong early. If you can somehow hit that 4 Glacial, like by level 5, level 6, you're usually really powerful at that point.
All right, we are going into our first carousel here. Salvyyy with the first pick. What do you think he's going to be going for?
I was going to say, I expect an NLR for Morello, and sure enough, there you go.
There it is.
Because he had those 2 belts, so that didn't surprise me too much. I imagine DarkHydra is also probably looking for Morello parts with that Zyra, but unfortunately, most of them are gone at this point.
Right. Yeah, man. He's already got a Spear of Shojin on that Zyra. Zyra, Spear, and Morello is just that is just like an auto win of the early and mid game.
Yeah, it's also really nice because you can then transfer that to like an Amumu later and have a really strong Amumu.
Or a personal favorite of mine is just flood the entire board with plants and you can't go wrong.
Nice. Yeah, if you can hit, especially with the 3-star Zyra buff that happened in 10.5, 3-star Zyra is actually a possible win condition there.
Absolutely. Maybe we can jump over to Zaza here, who's our only remaining 100 health player. Let's see if they're embracing the win streak or if they just got a high roll early. We'll jump over to them in just a bit here.
So there's the Morello on Ezreal, by the way.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, there's the 3 woodlands start real strong.
What are, if you had to give it a percentage chance, what are the chances that they keep these woodlands in and go for my shoot the moon 6 woodland strategy?
I mean, if they hit the 2-star Nico, there's a world where that might be actually the right play. But the fact they don't have any Maokais, I would have to say pretty close to 0%.
Man, I just wanted to. There's the Maokai and the level 2 Nico.
Well, no, I think.
Oh,
they only have the one Nico, but
right, because they cloned the Nico there. I got too excited. Come on, Zaza, do it. I know you want to.
Yeah, Woodland and Glacial start like this. This is a really aggressive start, but unless they 2-star any of the units, I think it's going to fall off pretty quickly here.
Looking like they are going. They bought the Maokai. It's still a pot. Oh, but they're selling. Okay, they're swapping. I'm still keeping hope here, but at the very least, it is going to be a strong start here for Zaza. I'm wondering, this is one of the biggest unlocks, I think, for these top competitive players, is knowing exactly when to transition and pivot and when you can actually stop taking advantage of this early game, because we know that the Woodland Druids, for the most part, are not going to get you too far into that late game. So it'll be interesting to see how Zaza transitions out of this into another mid and late game comp here.
Yeah, my expectation, it seems like in Rise of the Elements especially, people had kind of figured out that like 3-2 is the point they want to kind of go in and do their big transition. So I think we'll see clear this round, maybe go one more round with what they have, and then expect to see what looks to be almost like an Inferno possibility, or Ezreal, Ranger. Like there's a couple different options open here on the table. So it'll be interesting to see which one they go for.
1K prize pool.
Definitely in a good, definitely in a good spot here with the Krugs being at 100 HP on the 5-game win streak. I'm interested to see if they invest and maybe level early to keep this win streak.
Yeah, and see, my expectation is probably not, but would be interesting to see if they did it. There's so many players really struggle with the like leveling at an odd numbered level, even if it is the right play. Oh, I take it back. They leveled.
This is why they are in the top 8 and why I'm here casting. I mean, that again, that's one of the other sort of unlocks for the competitive players, is being able to see, okay, this doesn't necessarily make level 1 sense, but I can see where I'm going here and know that it's worth investing to keep this win streak for Zaza. So
Part of this is also, I wonder, like, a lot of these players have also been playing with galaxies on PBE. So I am curious if like some of those strategies are conflating a little bit. Because certainly in Rise of the Elements right now, a lot of the powerful units are still those legendaries at the end.
Right.
And so needing the econ to reach that level 7, level 8 breakpoint and hit those, we'll see if that pays off in the late game.
Yeah, I don't even know if I went back to set 2, what I would do with all this gold that I have at all points in time. You just feel so rich.
Because for like comparison, if we look at like Narkez, I wonder how much gold they're running right now. Because I expect, yeah, exactly. So they're running a lot of gold. They're doing the pretty standard 3-2 transition here. And now sort of going, okay, I've lost enough. Time to move forward. I'll also call it, they have a spatula. So a lot of options they can do with that.
They do have a spatula, and they rolled past an Ashe and a Twitch, so clearly not going the Rangers to pair with their Ezreal, which makes sense. I certainly... they don't really have the items for it, I think, is the biggest reason why they're not doing that, but man...
I am curious what they're trying to hit here. I'm seeing a lot of, like, Azir and friends, maybe? They're still running the Talia. Like, this is a very interesting build we're seeing.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much that spatula is impacting their decision making right now. What is their goal or their plan for this spatula that they got? I mean, now having played without spatulas on the carousel for so long.
Oh, I see. Okay, so he's got the spatula and he's got the cloak, which makes the light. And you can notice he's got the Azir plus the Yorick. We're starting to see the beginnings of a light Azir comp here.
We do see the 2-star Azir hit. Is the transition happening now? Looks like it possibly is.
Yeah, so I fully expect to see a light spatula come in here.
Ooh, going right for the...
Get the Mystic going, light. Really good transition speed here, though, making a lot of really tough decisions pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the... Again, this is the top level of play in this set, knowing exactly what to do when you get it. So huge execution there, and I think we're going to see a pretty big power spike here with that light. Azir, though, does get stunned by the Nautilus.
Now, Azir's been a fan favorite, I know, all set. Everyone really likes facing against Azir, so really nice to see this one get pulled out here.
Yeah, definitely nice, and unless this Talia, another fan favorite unit, really
Battle of the fan favorites.
Yeah, are we going to see maybe a Talia Azir just run it back in set 3, maybe for the first expansion?
It will be interesting to see what Narkez tries to get on that Azir as well, because obviously just light's not going to be enough. So we'll see what other items they try to supplement it with. Also, I noticed we did lose our big win streak at the top.
We did. Yeah, we now have Zaza took a big hit, an 11-point hit, but we are actually on back to Water Bear here, who is on a win streak with 87 health.
Got that Shadow Kindred, 2-star Kindred.
Yeah, we did see that early Kindred picked up and now is 2-starred with the Shadow buff. Lunar as well. Throw in a Ranger for good measure.
So I was just about to comment. Here's the usual. So usually at 3-5 now in Rise of the Elements is when people roll the 7. Water Bear's got a ton of gold here to work with, so I expect to see sort of a roll down at 7 here to try to hit some of these shadow units, would be my expectation. Looks like they're holding for now, though.
If they're doing that, they're going to have to go at roughly a 25x Blevins speed, because I am the slowest. I'm the slowest roller of all time. Did not go for it. Just leaning on the level up and the added synergy here with the stacked Kindred. Now, interesting here is that we did see that early locket given to Kindred, so unlikely to be their late game carry here, and it wasn't even enough to win. The win streak is now over.
I feel like if anything, you're holding on those items and trying to get a second Kindred to then move those items once you hit the Yi, because this is looking like a 6 shadow potential kind of build. Let's see here. Yeah. So Zaza's fallen off pretty hard now, which means you had to transition off that woodland.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest things to do. It looks like Berserker, or at least a 4 Glacial 3 Berserker, which is an interesting transition because we can see we it looks as though they're going to be going into the Berserker side, though not a ton of Berserkers on the bench here. I'm very curious where they're going in the late game here, and we've seen a few other players that are just grabbing Berserkers as other pieces of their comp. So interested to see if they can pull off the 6 Berserker here.
Yeah, they're also down a level, which is interesting because, again, we saw them being so up earlier. Remember, they hit 6 at 5-1 or 3-1, right. And now they're still 6, which is going to be pretty tough. The other thing is the 1-star Olaf with all these kindreds around. This is going to be a tough lobby for an Olaf comp to succeed.
Yeah, just deleted. It does have 2 Olafs, which is nice, but it also can be a little bit of a bait, and it seems like that might be the case here. Does get the 2-star Braum, but a very looks like a struggling mid game here for Zaza. We do have a new leader and win streaker here in Broccoli, who we haven't really seen too much on the cast of yet. And take a look and see what they're running in this mid game transition period.
Nice.
Ooh.
So this is the Azir, Lunar Azir carry. Nice. Yep. It's funny that Wolves is always one of the easiest fights because, like, even there you saw they all just kind of destroyed Azir. No problem. Still 3 units left.
Yeah, it's always fun seeing people. It's fun seeing people complain about both sides because people will say, "Oh, well, we want PBE rounds to be harder," and then when they die, they're like, "Well, these are too hard. I should never lose to these." Like, oh boy.
It's kind of fun if you watch the bars right now. We just saw a bunch of people hit level 7. A bunch of people hit new 2-star units. Water Bear just hit 2-star Yorick. Zaza just hit 2-star Scion. So you can definitely tell we've hit 4-1, and a lot of people are spending their gold right now.
Yep, this is the level up power spike round here in Rise of the Elements. We'll see if this
so here we have
and Friends. Going to be
light Azir versus Azir and Friends. So, and it looks like Azir and Friends is going to take it.
Oh yeah, those Friends are a big chunk down to Narkez, down to 19, possibly in 1 or 2 life territory. I mean, if they take a big hit, probably a little early to die, but man,
yeah, this is a lot of aggression in Rise of the Elements, and it's definitely very likely you can get knocked out before Raptors. So, and maybe the light spatula was a bait here.
Yeah, it's interesting here because at the beginning of Rise of the Elements and the end of set 1, we're also accustomed to playing around the spatula specifically, and now that it's not quite there and it's not there always, people have maybe lost that practice of actually using a spatula. And maybe a bait thing. So definitely interesting dynamic there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Azir, right? Azir is such a feast or famine kind of champion. Sometimes spawns that soldier right behind their key backline and like destroys their entire backline. Other times it gets stuck on a frontliner using Dragon's Claw and you get nothing out of it. So
and also sometimes Salvyyy does their best Vygar impression, just deletes the Azir off the map.
So yeah, if we take a look at Narkez, they're down to 5 health. This is basically their last shot. They did hit the 6 light, 2 mystic, but still 1-star Yorick. And not great items on Azir.
No, not great items, and even if this is good enough to win the next round, where are they in this? This is certainly not an end game comp. They're down to actual 0 gold. Definitely a hard spot to be in if you are Narkez here. And Azir gets Zephyr. Brutal.
That's gonna be probably it.
Yeah,
unless he gets a really lucky hit on that brand in the back.
Needs to kill it. And the brand didn't do too much. Looks like it's a level 1 brand.
Okay.
No upgrades.
Okay, manages to pull it out despite the Zephyr. That's lucky. That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, man, that could have been an early death for Narkez here. They do get the first pick on this carousel. I'm wondering what they can do here to turn this around.
Yeah, this is where you kind of hope for like a really good legendary unit. But honestly, Nami not really the best for like just putting in any comp. Had they got like a Taric, they might have been able to throw that in. So, oh boy. Yeah, again, I look at these numbers and I'm just like, oh, like Salvyyy and Narkez both are just in such a rough spot.
Yeah, we do see a bit of stratification here with DarkHydra being the next at nearly over 3 times as much health as Salvyyy in 7th here. Broccoli up in the top did lose their win streak, but at a healthy 74 health. And we've got a player like Gunmay who's right in the middle at 49. We actually have a 3-way tie at 49. Maybe we can jump over to Gunmay. I don't know if we've taken a look at what they're doing here in this match so far, but besides the bottom two.
One thing I'll call out is Narkez is also at 2 gold. So really they're just trying to like stop the bleeding and see if they can hit like a 6th or a 5th. But with that 49 being like 6th right now, that's going to be real hard to come back from.
Yeah, especially when they all end and just barely got the win. Really, really going to be a tough one to look at to be able to get a not 8th. But really, anything they can do is going to be house money at this point.
Oh, the Zyra there.
The plants getting the plants plus the GA, a deadly combination, much like the ZZ Rot with the delayed Cho ult in the Invitational.
All right, so 3 people just hit level 8 there. Zaza just hit their Olaf, and Narkez and Salvyyy did both just win. So if Narkez and Salvyyy can win this and make it to Raptors, we could see a huge swing if they get the items they're looking for.
Yeah, and this is the quintessential breaking point for these bottom players. We'll keep an eye on Narkez here, who is absolutely on 1 life territory. Ooh, the plants. We just saw him win here.
Really want to see if Salvyyy and Narkez can win this.
Big stun on the Azir. Does take out the Malphite, which is nice. The plants chipping away at the Mystics. Ooh, Azir is really attacking fast here. Looks like unless these plants do some miracle work,
nice.
Narkez able to survive to the
Narkez and Salvyyy still nice. All right, so see now everyone gets their full items. This is going to be a real big swing. Pretty excited to see this.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. I have heard and seen times that players have lost on chickens, even in Rise of the Elements. I don't want to name any names, Jimmy the Shovel, but it's definitely happened before.
Also, Zaza now on a win streak with that Olaf, by the way.
Yeah, so we are seeing, we are seeing the ebb and flow of these players. The second win streak for Zaza.
Ooh, another spatula. Nothing really to merge it with, though, unfortunately.
No, nothing crazy here.
I think that's a Morello and a dead spatula, unfortunately. Oh, they hit the 2-star Yorick, though. That's great.
Salvyyy hit the brand. Great items. Yeah, and unfortunately, what are we... I mean, you can put the Morello on a couple of different units, but nothing is too crazy here.
Yeah.
So those items really kind of being a miss.
Let's say there's at least a couple options. You could Morello the Soraka, you can Morello the Aatrox, you can even Morello the Azir, although Azir usually kills their target.
Right.
So, all right, up against Water Bear. This is Yorick versus Yorick fight.
Ooh, with a Lux as well.
Wait, is that a 2-star Shadow
Lux?
Ooh.
Just deletes the Azir off of the face of the earth. And that might spell the end here for Narkez.
Soraka could do some work here.
Lux from ulting.
Boop.
The York demon or York minion here. Unless these little York babies can do crazy work. Not
that
quite.
Shadow Lux damage.
Narkez being eliminated. Salvyyy also did lose, but did not quite take enough damage here. Salvyyy also down to their last life here with 4 health.
They've really got to roll. The problem is everyone else has got all the Malphites they need, but the big difference between the 1-star and 2-star Malphite would be huge here. Holding on to 22 gold, though, at 4 health when every point matters is a really risky play.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good news is that they get to take that gold into the... Oh, wait, no, that's not how TFT works in tournament. You do not get to keep that gold. So very interesting play. I do kind of like it, though, because I think their thought process is, if I don't win here anyway, I'm never going to win. I can spend 22 gold now and maybe get strong enough to survive, or I can get lucky, which I need to do anyway, win, and then have an actual amount of gold that I can do something substantial with.
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't quite pan out.
22 gold, you maybe hit that Malphite. That might have made a difference. That's pretty rough, but that's going to do it for Salvyyy.
Salvyyy is out here. MismatchedSocks and Gunmay both also lost here with 7 and 10 health respectively. We are starting to see the flies drop here at the bottom of this lobby. A lot of players, 2 more players here actually at 1 loss territory. And we do see Broccoli here at first place with a healthy 52, but it's still a pretty... The top 3 are all within striking distance. DarkHydra in 4th right now with 29 is not too far out of it.
The one thing I'll call out here is I think Broccoli has made a really smart itemization with the Trap Claw, knowing that the top of the lobby is a Shadow Lux and there's a brand out there.
Yep.
The only thing that worries me a little bit is it's on the front line, so it'll probably get triggered by other spells.
Right.
So that's just a really risky play.
Definitely a risky play, but it does draw some of the attention away from that Azir with friends in the backline. Can he beat the Tibbers though?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit closer than I thought it would have been.
All right, so Gunmay out in 6th.
Ooh, we do lose Gunmay there. MismatchedSocks did pull up a clutch victory there, securing themselves at least a 5th here.
Taking the QSS was smart there. Also denying it from Broccoli, or not, or from Waterbear for the Shadow comp.
Zaza got a Berserker item on a Zed when we knew that they were running Berserkers earlier.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. We'll have to take a look at their build.
Yeah, that could be a first place. And now we're starting to see potentially a first place level comp here. They did pull off the 6 Berserker, 3 Poison, which is pretty standard here with the Glacial and Desert.
Yeah, the Berserker Kha'Zix here. Look at that Berserker Kha'Zix with QSS no less.
Oh yeah, this is a classic that I have loved to run a lot in the Rise of the Elements set. Here is the Berserker Kha'Zix, or just the carry Kha'Zix in general. Has been one of my favorite units to run in the set.
Olaf definitely getting Zephyred here, but the nice thing is it's a Ghost Army, which always just feels a little weaker.
Yeah,
it always feels like just a little less pressure.
Yeah,
but actually losing to the Ghost Army here.
That being said, and that was the. Can we tell who that was? The Ghost Army.
That was the Azir and friends.
Okay, so that was I believe Waterbear, or maybe it was DarkHydra. I don't remember, but definitely. Man, when you're losing to the Ghost Army.
This Lux is pretty strong. Basically, if you can get some good rolls on that, you get the double damage going. Can be really strong.
Yeah, we saw that Lux just completely banish the Azir, the light Azir to the Shadow Realm, literally as a Shadow Lux unit.
Yeah, we'll call out. I'm surprised we don't see a Zed Electric comp on anyone at the moment.
No one reading from the Bible of Peba this game.
Yeah. So let's see where the Shadow Lux hits. This is going to probably make or break it.
Oh,
that Karma unit. So not much damage there.
Yeah, really not a lot going on there. The Taric just being an absolute pro and completely countering that Lux. The Lux ulted 3 times and did, I think, 0 damage because of the Taric ult.
Socks hiring the Challenger level Tarics.
Yeah.
Wait, Socks' comp is really interesting here. So this is the 3 Poison Ranger, but only the 2 Ranger, 2 Crystal. This is the sort of grab bag of everything comp.
Yeah. It is definitely one of the more interesting transitions because it is that sort of middling. It's in the middle of a few different compositions, and I think this is a hallmark of high-level play in Rise of the Elements, is being able to just adapt to what you're given and what you have. It's being able to not force yourself into one vertical comp, but be able to actually play around in the middle of a few.
So that was a good item for Socks, getting the Ginsus here on the Twitch, but specifically because he's running the Taric and Crystal, which means his fights are going to last longer. And so now you're going to see like him be able to ramp that up and eventually become kind of a monster.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a very fast attacking rat, and with that Taric alt protecting it from the Lux alts as well as other potential one-shots. It's going to be very strong, though. Can we see
Zephyr
Ghost
on the
Army?
Ash.
Can we see Ghost Army take down another player?
Yeah. These Taric 2 alts, though. Taric has been sort of just like the beef of most of Rise of the Elements, so... That's like 2.5, 3 seconds of immunity is so much damage prevention.
So much damage prevention, and we see Socks taking this victory. And what's interesting here is that he's got both of his carries positioned on either side of the map. So, although he did move the Ash back to the middle, but yeah, we're seeing if one carry gets hit, it's okay because I've got a second in waiting to just burst you down with the Ash and the Twitch. We did see DarkHydra get taken down here in 5th place, so we do have our top 4. Zaza actually taking another loss here as well, going down to 6 health. We see Socks at a low 7 health, but on a 4-game win streak right now.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to like if he can poison the Olaf and not let that Olaf turn on.
Right,
that is really going to make a big difference here.
Taric alt.
So Olaf is on now.
Ooh, Olaf is on and was stunning a lot of the units. This is super close. The GA. Ooh, but the red buff on the Twitch prevents that Olaf from healing, and we see both Zaza and Broccoli falling here. We're down to our top 2 in Water Bear and MismatchedSocks here. Water Bear
with the 6 shadows, so yep,
with the 6 shadows. But the question is that Taric still challenger level and able to just completely stop the Lux alts?
Yeah, it feels like this is going to be decided pretty heavily by what Lux alts. The other thing I want to call out, really small optimization here, is like Lux is standing on the Inferno Hex, getting no benefit. There, he just finally moved it. But yeah, if Lux hits the Twitch, this might be over.
Right. Mundo taken out. The Taric does alt. The Lux does get a unit. Ooh, the end of that Taric alt just preventing another Lux
Taric
alt.
There. That's it.
Ooh, does banish the Twitch, and that is going to be it.
6 shadow.
6 shadow. More. When is shadow getting nerfed though?
Wednesday. In fact.
Oh, that's right. We're going to be seeing 0% play rate of shadow on Wednesday, but that is going to be the end of our first game here for our set 2 finale, brought to you by GiantSlayerTFT. Mort, what did you think about that first game that we saw?
It was good. A lot of really interesting optimizations. Even just seeing Water Bear, the way he itemized the Lux with the 2 Hand of Justice to get the early cast was really smart. MismatchedSocks, the way they played the variety comp to try to cover all their needs and make that huge cut swing from like 6th all the way to 2nd was another good play. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, and Zaza was interesting because we saw them so early. They had an early win streak, then they had a mid-game loss streak, and then pulled out another later game win streak and ended up exactly in the middle at 4th place. So very interesting play there. We'll see. You can see the scores being displayed here. Water Bear picking up that crucial 1st place for 14 points. Narkez, unfortunately, in 8th place with 3. But as we are playing 4 separate rounds here, it's still anyone's game, as we are going to be going into game number 2 very shortly. But man, I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for that 6 Woodlands. It's got to happen. I think if the chat can spam enough copy pastas in the chat for Woodland, I think we can get there. I think we can get there.
Maybe. I definitely want to see that, or maybe the 3-star Vigars. Get the old H22 builds going.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that was a lot of pretty standard stuff in a good way. And like I said, a lot of just really interesting itemization choices. The Yoriks, I think, were really highly desired there, but not as many people made them work. So yeah, a lot of good stuff.
And we saw maybe a little bit of a bait with the with that spatula, that early spatula coming out and forcing a player into the light Azir, which didn't pay off here. But we're jumping in to the opening carousel for our second round here in the finale.
There were 4 players after that chain vest. So definitely, like you mentioned, things like Bramble seems to be the early prioritization call.
Yeah, and if you guys are listening to the GiantSlayerTFT YouTube guides, you will know that Bramble Vest is definitely a highly sought-after item for the early and mid game, and even the late game too, because it does scale with the item or with the unit level. So definitely a good one to pick up at any point in time.
Yeah, certainly the fact it prevents the crits later just means it's adding extra value. Ocean game this time, which I'll be interested to see if that changes any build priorities, just because that early cast can make such a difference for certain builds.
Yep, and we're seeing an early 2/3 cost units for Water Bear here in the Nautilus. Man, it is crazy to think compared to set 3 how much gold they have right now.
I was about to say, I feel like this is a sell everything, buy one, and try to make it work, but that's so risky.
That is very risky. I don't know. I mean, this is one where just playing hundreds and hundreds of games to know, can a 1-star Ivern actually beat this level 2 creeps? I have no idea. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Really good start though. Only the cog. It'll be interesting to see if anyone else goes predators, because he does have the rod on the Braum, which could lead to a Ludens if we wanted to go that route.
Yeah, we're going to have to check the in-game chat and see if he typed me pred or not, because that will hear them as a Predator player.
I mean, once you type that, no one else is allowed to buy them, so that's usually a strong play.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys in the chat knew that, but if you do type me pred, then you are legally allowed to be the only pred player, and it's breaking the law, not just of TFT, but of...
You should see the amount of reports we get that we have to deal with people who break that rule.
Yeah, it's the authorities will be called for sure. But we do see the Warwick at least picked up, so potentially still leaving the option open for Predators. But the Braum not. As I say that, the Braum is immediately sold.
Yeah, you got to hit those econ points, right?
Definitely hit the econ points, though. It is interesting because Braum is another one of those units that is prioritized very highly early, especially with the glacial and electric sort of early mid game build. So. Definitely interesting here. We see Water Bear not hit any more preds here.
Yeah, if he could get the one more pred, I feel like he'd be in a good spot. But unfortunately, this is actually going to leave him really weak. His items are also not great for this particular kind of build. So this is a bit of a rough start.
Definitely a rough start, but can be...
Ooh, wow. Locks the Ginsus. That's
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a bold strategy.
It's so interesting to commit that, because basically what you're saying is I'm definitely going to hit something that can utilize this Ginsus, which he does pick up in Azir, to be fair. But Ginsus is one of those items that statistically has been like incredibly highly made, but actually not that powerful.
I think it's one of the coolest items because it's just fun. You know, at the end of the day, it's just fun to see your unit keep attacking faster and faster.
And that's what we look at it and we're like, this is definitely a fun item. Clearly, people are enjoying building it. And because it's not overpowered, we can definitely keep it around. So there we go. He hits the Preds finally.
We do see Preds at least in the early game here. So we'll have to come back later and see if they commit more to it.
Socks has got your hope alive.
Ooh, we're seeing the Woodland Druids and an early Zephyr as well.
Probably not major swing spot.
Interesting to see if they can pan this out.
This is another rough item start because it's like you've got Zephyr, which was 2 defensive items, and a belt, which is another defensive item. So going the Woodland Druid to try to offset that is pretty helpful here. But Yasuo is just going to rip apart that Nico here.
Yeah, Yasuo, and it looks like all of these units are 2-starred as well.
Yeah.
So I think this fight was over before it started.
Yeah, it looks like Zaza has a really strong start here, but no gold.
I'm okay losing. Holy shit,
so yeah, and this is definitely a divergence in strategy.
And there's the question mark ping for the why do you have such a strong start?
Yeah, we didn't see any Yasuo carry comps last game, though now with the early Yasuo too with the Hand of Justice already committed. We might see one here. So definitely already a different texture of a game in this game 2 here.
Yeah, so I'll call out basically 7 players hit level 4 there. The only one who didn't was Zaza. Zaza was already level 4, and Zaza was the one who already had all the 2 stars. So Zaza seems to be doing really well to start off here.
Wait, please hit the NASA's.
Yeah, Zaza with another early start. MismatchedSocks does just throw in the tier 2 Vayne just to try to get some power in addition to the 1-star Woodland Druids. Yeah, like even investing the sword here just to try to get that win. Interesting though, because this looks like they're definitely trying to win here. So not valuing the loss streak at all, though it might not be their choice whether or not they get the loss streak.
Yeah, with Rise of the Elements, you have to really hit that like 5-game breakpoint to really make streaks really worth considering. So I think here they're just trying to get that 1 gold for the economy. You see Mismatched at 9. I expect to see a sell that Zyra or something. Or no, it's Carousel, so they'll do the Carousel sell. But yeah.
The carousel, if you will.
Exactly.
I can't believe I've never, no one has called it. At least I haven't heard anyone call it that until now, and now it's gone. So
no. The dead trick known as the carousel.
We're bidding it farewell as well with Rise of the Elements here. We do a little bit different start here as well, in that we have both Zaza and Salvyyy at 100 health going into this first carousel. And pretty close throughout the rest of the lobby, obviously, with low 80s at the bottom.
Yeah, pretty interesting how last game we had no Predator players, and this game we have 2. Okay, sweet. So yeah, we're looking at Zaza, who had those early, like, look at this, level 5 already. Ooh. At 2-5, which is really early. Everything 2-starred except the Aatrox, running 3 light, 2 Blade Master with that Yasuo. This is such a strong start. Look at the bench. Diana and Vayne also. Like, this is a really strong start.
Show me more money.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Zaza have a strong start. Maybe not quite as strong as this before. We saw a little bit of a weak transition. So this does have a little bit more of a direction to it. I'm wondering if we're going to see maybe a light, maybe them invest more into lights, or if we're going to see the Yasuo, traditional Yasuo carry. There's a lot of different directions that Zaza can go here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's so much power here and so much flexibility that I honestly expect it'll just be dependent on what items they get. You know, if we see a GA, a Bloodthirst, or something that supports that Yasuo, maybe we shift. But at the same time, if maybe they hit that early Yorick, then they can go down that light path. But yeah, level 5 already. That's just such a strong start.
Oh, and you say it, and there's the Yorick already.
And that's one of the advantages of leveling to 9 so quickly.
This is another question they have to ask. Is the Blade Master synergy worth... Is the Blade Master synergy more powerful than just having a 1-star Yorick? Looked like they debated that. They put the Yorick in for a second, then swapped it back out.
Yeah, I agree with that play right now, especially because you've got that Yasuo with the Hand of Justice and that ult. The earlier that ult comes out, the more that'll like break the fight. And so getting those Blade Master procs to make sure that ult happens quicker. Like in this case, whenever that Yasuo ults, that Qiyana's dead.
Yep.
And so I do think that's the right call.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. And the ult, there it is. And there goes the Qiyana. And the rest of the cleanup here is elementary for Zaza on a win streak. But we also have Salvyyy on a win streak at 100 health as well. So interesting to see where they have ended up with their build here, as they had a bit of a rough start in game 1.
Yeah, game 1 was pretty rough for them, so I'm interested to see what they're going, because Zaza had the very clear like power army. Salvyyy, I'm not quite sure. So if we take a look at their army, what do we got here? Okay, just a strong warden build. Fascinating. I'm actually like, wow, this is strong Nasus basically, and Thieves Gloves. Yeah, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is almost the exact opposite of what we see with Zaza. I don't think anyone is looking at this board and saying, "Oh, look at this absolute high roll." It's like, nope, they just put like I would imagine that a lot of these wins have been very close, and they've just gotten there. So very interesting to see the difference in these two win streakers right now.
Yeah, for sure. Zaza has a pretty clear path going down light, whereas Salvyyy honestly could transition to just about anything with these items.
Yeah, and looking like they might be favoring Berserkers picking up the Jaxes, though not necessarily. See a GA built here.
Yeah, this is real. I'll be really interested to see how Salvyyy pulls this out, because again, this could really be just about anything. I also think right now you see a lot of light pieces here. You've got the Nasus, the Jax, the Aatrox. But as we know, Zaza's already doing that. And I just want to call out, Zaza just hit level 6. So really pushing hard on that win streak.
I think I can say with confidence that I have literally never had this board in all of set 2. Like, I have never found myself in a situation where I've had these units out. Like, not even talking about the items built. So this is definitely one of these. I can see that Salvyyy is navigating this situation to the absolute best of his ability, because this is not a standard. This is not your standard build here, and it looks like they're going to continue this win streak on to 7.
The thing I think Salvy's doing that's really smart here is using Taliyah on the ocean map. Especially after the nerf, Taliyah struggles a little bit without any tiers or ocean. But on an ocean map, it's just 2 autos and a big CC on 1 unit. When you only have 4 or 5 units, that's a lot of CC percentage on your army. So really strong use there.
Absolutely. And now we see the Kindred and Varus added in for 2 Rangers, but still, I mean, we're basically at Ranger Warden, but I don't think you look at this and go, oh, he's definitely going Warden Rangers build. It's just,
certainly not with these items either. Like, maybe you get him Blue and go Inferno, maybe.
Yeah, this just, I don't even know what to say about this build. It's just so, like, it's just a mishmash.
I will call out, he's up against a Mage Nico.
Ooh, I want to say that before Egg Roll came out, myself and a number of the players in the Little Legends podcast community were trying to make Egg Roll happen before it actually happened. And the Mage Nico was our end game. It didn't quite work out as well as Egg Roll ended up, but it was definitely fun. So
the Mage Nico ending the win streak there.
Yes, the Mage Nico did end the win streak, but not for Zaza, who's still at 100.
Yeah. Fun fact about Nico, by the way, as we're looking through the data at Riot, Nico has like the almost absurdly high win rate if you 2-star her before stage 3, in like the 90% range.
Wow.
But that falls off so dramatically by stage 4 that it's below 50%.
Huh. That's interesting. That is very
strong champ at this point in the game.
Absolutely a strong champ, especially with a mage item, because she's going to be alting a ton with that. And it looks like the reign of Salvyyy may still continue here, though they did already get that first loss. Also, we see Zaza on the sidebar here picking up a loss.
Yep.
Both of our win streaks are done. Salvyyy ended up winning that game, actually.
Nice. I'll actually be curious after the carousel to look at MismatchedSocks, currently in last. But again, Socks has had a really good streak many times throughout this tournament, showing that they can take what looks like a 7th and 8th and turn it into a 2nd or 3rd. So we'll be curious to see if he can pull it off again.
That was a hallmark in set 1 in the beginning of set 2 for a lot of the most consistent tournament players. I'll call out Crowan from Cloud9 as one who I casted a number of times, and it's like, man, he's down to like 40 or 50 health. Looks like this is the end of Crowan, and we don't see him for a while, and then he just ends up getting second almost every time. So a lot of these top level players are able to not get frazzled by these early slow starts, and are actually able to turn it around in the end.
Yeah, so 3-5 is a great stage to just watch the sidebar and start seeing. Here's all the level 7 pings. So we've already seen like 5 of those go by. And people are starting to roll down, so it's just, if you watch that sidebar, there's a 2-star Malphite on Gunmay. So if you're playing at home, this is a really good way to like learn. Oh, 2-star Annie also. You can see how other people are proceeding with their army. It looks like Socks is kind of stuck, unfortunately, on a Mage Zyra build. So I think it's just kind of struggling to put together a really strong comp here.
Does have the early Nami, though, which is going to be pretty big. And at least keeping this one close. Is the Azir going to be able to take over the game?
If I can win this, is actually insane to me.
With that Hand of Justice, it looks like it's possible.
Yeah, that Azir's doing work. There's the power of Azir right there, and that's why.
What are we nerfing Azir? He's so strong.
You couldn't pay me enough to put Azir back in the next set.
Well, you heard it here, chat. Start a GoFundMe for put Azir back into the set. We'll see just how high that number has to be.
Oh, God. Yeah, like I said, Zyra is really good early, but unless you 3-star her, she falls off so hard now that I mean, he's got to be looking for something to replace with that Zyra.
Yeah, confirmed. Mort hates gardening. His plants are just not good in the late game.
I will say one of the obvious choices with those items is Malphite, but we already saw Gunmay hit the 2-star Malphite. So the odds of getting that Malphite is going to be really tough.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough, and I'm wondering what else. I mean, you could put it on... Oh, I mean, you can... I mean, I guess you could put the mage item on the Nami and the Morello, so it's not terrible. But it is...
Yeah, if you hit the 2-star Nami, that would be a strong option. But hitting the 2-star Nami at level 7 when you're at 25 gold and struggling right now, like, he needs power now. He just lost to a level 6 water bear. And so, yeah, that's going to be a real tough sell to hit that.
Maybe I didn't tunnel too hard this game.
Does hit a brand here. So looking to solidify perhaps the mage build... Man,
yeah, at least the brand gives him the mage, which is huge. So at least the Zyra can actually make use of that mage cap. But
yeah, it's definitely a tough spot when you have like a medium amount of gold. You're at low power. You really need to like level up or hit some upgrades, and you just don't have enough resources to work with. So
yeah,
get another spatula though.
Nice. The big thing to note here though is like the way you have to think about a tournament versus the way you play ladder. If you're sitting at 42, your goal is definitely not to hit first. Your goal is to just stay alive as long as possible, which means maximizing your chances against your opponents and start reading your opponents. Because honestly, in a tournament setting, getting a third, getting a fourth can make the difference versus trying to crash out with a high risk situation that might put you in an 8th.
Yeah, interesting here. Takes out the Zyra. Needs to put that mage cap on somebody. Being like...
Ooh. I'm only laughing because Mage Nasus, we get the double grow, except he was frozen the whole time.
Oh, does double grow. That is a gigantic Nasus.
That's a big dog. Good dog.
Definitely a good dog, and that was enough to actually get the W there. And actually, Narkez falls below mismatched.
So I'm going to call out at the very first Rise of the Elements show match, Skara tried Mage Nasus to see the double dog because I had told him about it at the very first tournament. So it's sort of fitting to see the double grow Nasus on both the first and last tournament of Rise of the Elements.
I can say that I have never done the double dog growth, so definitely glad to see it here in the set 2 finale. And obviously, it's a stemming the bleeding type of play here. Not what you're ideally looking for, but was enough to get mismatched the W and keep him alive. We do see DarkHydra actually getting the Berserkers build with a Berserker Ezreal, no less.
Ooh, that's a lot of power.
A big 2-star Olaf, and this is going to be a chunk to mismatch here.
I mean, he cleaned it up too bad, so he only took 2 units worth of damage. Hitting that 2-star brand was really big, so that's going to help mismatch quite a bit.
Yep,
but yeah, he's back down in 8th now.
Down in 8th, but Narkez did get another loss, and looks like the bleeding is continuing for Narkez. Maybe we can jump over to them and see what position they are in, and if they can actually... They did level up to 8, so maybe a little bit of a power spike, and maybe a turnaround for Narkez, but it's going to need to be a lot here. They are in the glacial, 4 glacial lunar electric build. This is looking like maybe the beginnings of the PIBA comp, but they need to get there. They need to live to be able to get to it.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough situation, especially with running the 1-star Ezreal, 1-star Warwick, 1-star Volibear. It's like 3 of your 4 Glacial are still 1-star.
Where are you even getting damage? How do you even get enough damage to kill a comp?
I mean, honestly, Static Shiv has probably carried him this far.
Right. Yeah, it is a tough spot in the Azir. The Azir summon doing its work and killing the entire backline of Narkez, who suffers another loss. Falling to 22, but Mismatch took a gigantic loss there, down to 17 health. And we see a bit more stratification with the bottom 2 being in the 20s and below, with Salvyyy and Waterbear both being at healthy life totals up in the top. Salvyyy actually at 87 and Waterbear at 68 with a win streak right now. So
yeah, I want to call out Zaza had that amazing start and is now sitting at 48 health. Like, oof.
Yeah, this is the second game in a row that we've seen Zaza go out to an early start and then not quite get there in the mid game. We'll see if Zaza can do what they did last game and pull off the late game run again and get a 4th place, but it is definitely going to be a tough task to achieve.
All right, so we're on Socks here. Yep.
You're on Socks, who is currently at 17 health. Potentially Death's Door. Potentially at Death's Door.
Man, this is awful.
Rose in the Mygar.
6 Mage 4 Ocean. So they're going to be able to do it. They're going to be able to do it. Mage Thresh. Okay, if this works, this is a brilliant play.
Yeah, this is definitely a Hail Mary, because this is the type of move that causes me to lose 17 health if I do it. So definitely.
Okay, all he did was double shield a single 1-star LeBlanc. So
yeah,
a little rough there. But Brand's going to do a lot of work here and keep him alive.
Going to keep him alive and, actually get the victory. That Nami ult did prevent a little bit. I gave that Brand a little bit more time to cast, which was quite good. So the transition here paying off, and Mismatch now at least has a goal here. They're in 6 Mage 4 Ocean. They have a strategy locked down. Is this going to be enough to actually survive long enough before 1 or 2 other players get knocked out, because they are at 0 gold.
Yeah, it's so many 1-star units. This is really challenging. Got that mountain buff, though, which will help a little.
So much better. It's so much better.
If that mountain buff can land on someone important like the Brand or the Nami, it might be helpful. But if that mountain buff lands on, say, that Vlad, it's just going to be doing nothing. Let's see where it lands.
Don't care about the Thresh.
It goes on the Vlad. You caster cursed him more. And also noting that Giant Slayer, while a great TFT content source, is not quite the best item in this build, and that is going to be it for MismatchedSocks, taking the full 17 there and finishing in 8th place.
If we can take a look at Salvyyy, who's still at 81, I'm actually curious what they're running that's got them on such a big gap compared to everybody else.
Yeah, we saw Waterbear's win streak go away as well.
Okay, so here, we mentioned this the first game that we didn't see it. Now we're seeing it the second game. The Zed, the 3 electric.
3 electric early, well, relatively early Zed. Level 1, though. Still going to be quite strong when paired with Azir. Level 2 Kiana as well.
Yep. That's
definitely a strong spot.
The electric buff going from 80 damage to 250 is just so powerful.
Absolutely, and a great item on Zed as well with the Giant Slayer, and actually picked up the redemption as well. So this Zed is going to be kitted out. Hits the level 2 Azir. Picked up a pair of Yoriks as well.
Also has a locket on the Thieves Gloves roll here. Like this should be a good turn. Be curious to see where these items end up, but
yeah, looks like he is putting the
That's smart.
The Seraph's on the Azir. Gonna wait to see where he wants to put the Redemption, or the Zephyr, rather.
Okay.
So I'll call out here. He also used the mana bug or mana trick on Zed to make him instantly clone here.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, that seems to be paying off.
That's the little optimizations that are really paying off here for Salvyyy, though. A strong victory there against WaterBear, who was near the top, and now the gap is absolutely widening. Yes, WaterBear was in second place, just got the loss to Salvyyy, and now the gap between first and second is 41 health. We've got two players sub 20, a couple in the 20s, and it is Salvyy's game to lose right now for sure.
Now Zaza, as again we called out with that really early win streak, is now in 7th place. Looks like on her way out. So
yeah, but Mort, I thought that the early game was the only thing that mattered, and that if you have an early strong start, you're just going to win the game. I thought that's what TFT was.
I mean, they did hit the Yorick, they did hit the Aatrox. They're running that 6 Light, which this is the second game in a row we've seen Light not perform. So I'm starting to wonder if, as competitors, they might be wanting to stay away from Light for this tournament.
Yeah, well, and we also saw the literal opposite of Light. The Shadows win game 1. But not that those have anything to do with each other in the game. But, I mean,
if they can get the Lucian, they might be able to make a comeback. Oh, Salvyyy lost that one.
Wow, I'm wondering who Salvyyy lost to there, because that was... Salvyyy was looking in a very strong spot.
So I saw Narkez hit the 2-star Zed. So one of those things where now we've got everyone competing for that same powerful unit, and Narkez was the one who managed to hit it first.
Narkez hit it and is on a win streak to boot. So could be a rough one for Salvyyy transitioning into this late game if they're not actually able to hit that Z2, because that is certainly,
speak of the devil,
a huge difference. Oh, and here we go, the battle of the Zeds. But man, Narkez's is just itemed, kitted out perfectly, or at least very strongly, and is level 2.
Yep.
Guess what, Azir? I don't care. I'm the one jumping you. I don't care about your clones, and I have better clones and more of them.
Yeah, that early QSS also gives some extra mana generation from the magic resist, as well as preventing any CC so that the cast happens. So really smart use of QSS there.
Yep. Oh, and we did see Zaza taking the loss here, falling out even after that early strong high roll, as many people in the chat were calling it. So it is not everything. Broccoli also on death's door at 3 health. This is still, man, it was Salvyy's game to lose, but it does seem like it can still fall to anyone here as we go into this carousel on 5-4.
Yeah, and this is something we saw a lot with Rise of the Elements, was like, if you can hit that 2-star legendary unit, whether it be Zed, Taric, Amumu, a lot of the times that can be the make or break for your team. Or in this case, wow, this is an interesting one from WaterBear here. Master Yi with RFC Glacial.
And Titanic Hydra. Let's not forget the Titanic Hydra here. That is...
I mean, I try to forget Titanic Hydra, to be honest, but yes, Titanic Hydra on a 2-star here, just because of the amount of times he'll apply it with that 1.1 attack speed. Not the worst. Not the worst.
Yeah, certainly.
Here, frozen. Yeah, like you're gonna see.
Heal up a little bit. Let's de-aggro. Let's attack some more. Ooh, does get hit by the Nami Alto and goes down. This Kindred is gonna have to dance around masterfully if they're gonna win.
Yeah, and this is Narkez's very powerful Zed here.
But still not even not too much of a domination. We did see DarkHydra actually take a loss, going down to 5 health, and Broccoli winning, staying alive at 6. So at 3.
2-star singed. So that might be a big boost for DarkHydra.
Yeah, definitely a big boost for DarkHydra, and unfortunately for Salvyyy, we're seeing Narkez continue this win streak with the 2-star Zed. So it's going to be a balancing act for Salvyyy. If they can actually hit that 2-star Zed, it is going to be a big upgrade. But until Narkez starts to lose, it's going to be very hard for them to do that.
Yeah, that's a really powerful Zed that everyone's having to face here, and I don't really see anyone running Poison, which is like one of the only really great counters against that Zed.
Right.
So,
and also a Singed with a book and a Jeweled Gauntlet to boot. So just in case you somehow take out the Zed, there's going to be a running man damaging your entire team as well.
So, wow, we have a really tight lobby here.
Yeah.
Still 6 people in it.
Gunmay takes a loss. So we have 3 players sub 5 health. We have Salvyyy still in first at 26 health. Marquez on the 7 win streak, but only at 22 health as well. And Waterbear right in the middle at 21 health. So this is about as close as they get at this point in the game.
Yeah, certainly if you're looking at the power level of the armies, Narquez is kind of a clear favorite. But if a 6 shadow proc goes the right way, you could see someone else pull it out. I would also advise if anyone's really trying to beat Narquez, you've got to get poisoned in your comp. Without poison, there's just no way you're taking down that Zed.
We didn't see anyone die to the chickens there, so that's a plus. I contest. It's happened.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so Narquez just won the game.
Wow. That is a light Lux. Or sorry, an electric Lux.
Yep. Narquez just won the game, so everyone else should be fighting for second.
Yeah, and hoping that you don't play against the Lux.
Yep.
Wow. Well, there it is. That is...
You know, with TFT, sometimes someone gets exactly what they're looking for, and that happens. Your goal at that point is to survive as much as you can against that.
Right. Especially in this tournament format, you're going to... Every single placement matters a ton here. And Narquez is... It is now very clearly Narquez's game to lose, and I would be very surprised if that happened.
Yep. Sure enough, knocks out Broccoli.
Yep.
Gunmay
also falling, but slightly slower Gunmay falls. So Gunmay gets the 5th, and Broccoli ends with the 6th. We have our top 4. Salvyyy taking another loss, going down to 6 health. DarkHydra survived with 5. Waterbear staying strong with the 21 health. So Waterbear definitely in the best place, though. With Narquez's build, he could certainly do close to 21 and really take anyone out.
This is really about who do you match up against and starting to really position to try to beat that person. You want your fights to go a little longer, so anything you can do to delay the fight might buy you that extra spot. So,
ooh, DarkHydra with the classic Berserker Janna.
Yeah, Berserker into Electric is just a unfortunate fight, sadly.
It is, but the Olaf is holding on strong, though. Actually, I thought that Olaf was actually going to survive. Not quite enough. So we see them fall. Salvyyy also falls in 3rd, and Waterbear still the rock at 21 health.
So we have our 4 electric, and we have Waterbear's comp, which was...
believe
4 mystic. Okay, so if you're going to beat electric, 4 mystic is definitely the way to do it. That electric damage is magic, and so 4 mystic is going to cut that nearly in half.
Yeah, and 6 shadow to possibly get a big shot on to that Zed, but this is going to be tough. I don't know that these two players have not played against each other in quite some time, because Waterbear has been on 21 health for a while, and Narquez has won all of their games. So this is actually very interesting to see here.
Yeah, it's certainly, like, even if Narquez wins this, credit to Waterbear for at least trying to do the best thing he could to beat it.
Right. And we do actually see, unless the Zed clone can go crazy, it looks like Waterbear is actually going to win by the slimmest of margins.
And again, really good shout out there to Waterbear for noticing that it's an electric lobby and that's going to win, and building the 4 mystics.
Yeah, so both of the players looking to get that GA, because
Waterbear does not seem happy about Narquez getting that GA. Seraph's unfortunately probably goes on Nami simply to start the earlier cast.
Right.
Or
actually,
same thing. I'm Sion, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely want to get that early stun.
I'm definitely curious where the GA ended up on Narkez's team.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like, singed. Oh, that's rough.
Oh, boy.
Because that means the Morello burns are going to keep going the whole time. So
interestingly enough, it looks like Narkez actually sold one of their Luxes and moved the item on to the Karma.
Yeah, that's interesting. But again, the power of that shadow with Mystic here.
Yeah, just going to overpower
Wow.
Narkez. And that's actually it. Water Bear, Mr. 21. I can't believe he wasn't on a win streak there. Was at 21 health for quite some time. And actually takes out the 4 electric. Man, that is some metagaming right there, which is awesome
really
to
impressive to get the 4 Mystic in there. And again, like if you looked at his comp for a while, that Yi had the Glacial item and Titanic Hydra. You look at that and you're like, what kind of noob puts items like that? But oh wow, that was 2 firsts in a row. Whew.
Wow, Water Bear pulling out the double first place, putting them in an amazing spot for this the first half of these finals. MismatchedSocks had a great first game, not quite as good of a second game. We have a 3-way tie here at second with 15 points. DarkHydra and Salvyyy at 14 points, and the bottom of the lobby being Gunmay and Zaza. So definitely still anyone's game here, but man, Water Bear definitely putting themselves in a position to win. It's going to be interesting to see how they play out these games, as even a 3rd or a 4th place, not 8th, is really what's got to be going through Water Bear's head right now. I need to not get 8th. I just need to get as many points as I can to secure that lead.
2 firsts in a 4-game lobby is that's really impressive. And again, I have to call out the way he played that and adapted and built items that most people would just look at and kind of laugh at, which again just shows a really amazing level of adaptability and understanding of the game and its systems.
Yeah, and how many times have you at home gone for Mystic? I ask you that, and I wonder just how just think about how high of a level of play that is. But we are going to be going into a quick break here as we finish out our last 2 games right after the break for this Giant Slayer TFT Set 2 finale. We'll see you in a bit. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Giant Slayer TFT Set 2 finale. I am Blevins here with Mortdog. And man, we've had, and yeah, let's just do a little dance party. But we have had an amazing, a crazy, adaptive, I don't even know what other adjectives you would describe these first two games, but masterful is certainly one of them, as these are 8 of the best players in NA and EU. They have played through qualifier rounds yesterday, and we are now down to our top 8. And here are our scores. We got Water Bear with the back-to-back victory, certainly putting themselves in a strong place to finish first here. And we've got the rest of the players down the line. Still anyone's game. I mean, we have seen disaster in these types of tournaments before, where we see a lot of firsts and a lot of 8s, but it's certainly Water Bear's game to lose so far.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see. Really good adaptation, really good creative item uses. I think a lot of the people falling back on some of the old classics are actually the ones that are kind of falling off, and the people who are going for the more risky, unconventional stuff, it's actually been paying off for them. So.
Yeah, it seems like when you fall back into your berserkers, it feels good, but man, it's not getting those first places here. And we'll see. We've seen a lot of players going for the vest early, but only a couple. Actually, no, I guess 3. They were all stacked each other.
Vest and rod that time. Yeah, it'll be interesting now with the way the tournament standings are, if people start doing anything to counter Water Bear specifically, or do we start seeing people, because the other 7 are actually pretty tight.
Right.
Are you playing for second? Are you still playing for firsts? Are you trying to get a big swing? So we'll see if that changes any of their strategies.
Right. And as we're in this first round, we may be able to jump over and see what these players are actually playing for, because it's the top 4 are actually paying out here with, I believe, $500 going to first place, $250 going to second, $150 going to third, and $100 going to fourth. So it'll be interesting to see if Water Bear actually changes their style of play, because they already have 28 points going into this game 3. So they really just, any sort of even middling finishes are going to put them in a very good spot to cash out here.
Yeah. Now, sadly, we're going to be on an ocean game again, so I wasn't able to script it and get us one of each. But
more, you got to put in slash mountain on it, and it'll. I didn't know if you guys knew that, but that's actually how you get a mountain map. You just put in slash mountain into your Riot client.
Yeah, it's real easy. Yeah, so we'll see if that changes. Again, Water Bear here doing the single champ strategy.
And is it going to pay off?
It did.
It does.
Wow. See, again, Water Bear just showing why he's really good. So that's just, again, another good play there.
Yeah, just absolutely masterful. Just knowing that, yes, the one cost unit can actually take out the second round. I can high roll, get 3 gold, and just end up getting it's just a small margin, but it's the little things like that that add up to multiple first places and putting Water Bear in a good spot here in game number 3.
Yeah, I'll admit I've never risked it ever on the single. It's just too scary.
I've never done it with a 1 cost or with a 1-star unit. I've obviously done it with 2 stars, which I don't think is even a risk. I think it's just
that's just free. Yeah, that's just free.
I have not done the risk, at least not on purpose. I have accidentally sold my first unit on round 1 and just lost.
Ooh, what kind of a development team would let that happen? That's messed up.
You know, as someone who it's happened to, I'm glad, because you know what? I never played around. I just keep my hands away from the E button. I'm never even close to doing it. So I learned a very valuable lesson.
So Water Bear pulling off what we talked about is like what everyone's trying to chase after, which is that early Bramble Vest. So we'll see if that allows Water Bear to get off to an early start.
Yeah, very interesting. The positioning actually does make sense because of the ocean tile being in that far left front corner. Can the Nasus get his ult off? It's going to be huge if he can. Doesn't.
Oh,
so that's going to be the end.
And again, that's that early power of that flat damage to glacial buff.
That'll work.
Yeah, Hydra getting an early Ezreal and an early Braum with a Warmog. That is going to be.
That'll be strong.
That is a tough wall to break down for sure.
The other thing I'll call out is with Rise of the Elements, as you mentioned, the positioning with the elemental tiles have been sort of one of the key features of Rise of the Elements that's going away. So it'll be interesting. I've already seen as people start to play Galaxies, they're just like, where's the hexes? I don't know where to position anymore.
Yeah, well, you got to think back to us old timers in set 1, where it was very important to keep your carries a certain distance away because of hex tech. And
yeah, but you only had 21 hexes to deal with, so it was fine. All these new players have 28.
That's true. They don't know how good they got it.
Nice.
We do see still early on seeing a lot of Noah's arcing here for Water Bear.
Yeah, he got the item, but not the champs he needed, unfortunately, so wasn't able to pull off. Although he could still win this.
Yeah, it's going to be. Is the 1-star Nasus going to be able? But the crit from the Ornn. Mid Super Saiyan dog form, not quite able to get the cast off.
Not quite.
Does hit the 2-star though.
Okay, that'll be a big power spike.
He's got the 2-star. He does have the Ezreal as well if he wants to get the Glacial with the Volley Bear. I feel like he's opting for the Warwick actually.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't think that makes sense, so we'll see if it changes.
I was like, man, this is some next level stuff. If you're playing a Warwick over an Ezreal for almost any reason other than Predator, I am very interested to see the reason why.
Yeah. Now, I know it's a little early because it's only round 2, so we'll see what happens after this round, but I'll call out again, Zaza still at 100 again. Yep. So, which we saw last time did not really work out as they dropped all the way down to 7th.
Yep. And it only barely worked out in game 1 as they did finish 4th, but
yeah.
We do see Water Bear pick up their first win here, going into our first or our second carousel of the game. Looking like Zaza did still early, but did still keep that 100 health.
Yeah, we'll have to see after the carousel what Zaza's running again, because it has been different comps each time, but they have managed to turn those into a successful win streak just about every time.
At least successful for the early game, though. It is arguable what a successful win streak entails if you end up 7th at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that could just be like, again, are you prioritizing that early win streak, or are you prioritizing getting that 50 gold at Krugs? Which in Rise of the Elements, it seems like the understanding has been the goal is hit 50 gold at Krugs.
Right.
So.
Definitely a standard break point for high level Rise of the Elements play, which we're seeing a ton of here. And man, we've seen 2 games here, and I've already seen maybe 3 or 4 different compositions or just choices, item choices, unit choices made that I have literally never done as a plat diamond level player. So you are seeing an absolute masterclass being played in front of you right now. So definitely take that in as we set this set a farewell in style.
Yeah, so sure enough, we see a really strong mid-game comp here. The 3 Inferno, 2 Ranger, 2 Warden comp. This is about as good as it can get at level 5. I think the only thing stronger is like the Woodland comp.
Which we have seen Zaza have as well.
Yeah, the real question is, like, what we typically see with this build is we struggle, like, what do you turn it into in the late game?
Right.
Although here, I think Waterbear is going to win this with, that big front line. So
yeah, Super Saiyan Dog is going to be enough.
Double Ezreal with two Glacial.
Yeah, there's another combination I've never run. Never had 2 Ezreals, 2 level 1 Ezreals, though. It obviously makes a lot of sense here for Waterbear. And Zaza falls. We actually see everyone now has fallen at least once. No early win streaks here in this lobby. So even a different lobby than we've seen in the previous 2 games now. No early contenders for a win streak.
Now, one thing here is Zaza did just hit that Twitch, that level 5 Twitch, which is a pretty good sign that like maybe you should change this Inferno comp into a Ranger comp.
Right.
They'll need to get the tanky front line because 1-star Nasus and Olaf are not going to cut it. But there's some other pub potentials there. To get that IE from that glove from the Kindred, you can get a big Twitch going. So lots of different options there.
Interesting here, though. I don't think it's going to matter, but the Ornn placement from Narkez actually prevented the assassin jump, which was very interesting and not going to matter, but an interesting placement to have that Ornn on the opposite side of your opponent's Hex to really pull aggro immediately on your tank.
Nice. Okay, so MismatchedSocks finally won that one. So it seems like we have a lot tighter starting lobby. We're seeing people win and lose all across the board. Okay, Broccoli looking like 4 Warden with a Zirin friends.
Yep, gets the early Azir with the Rage Blade, pretty standard here, but Broccoli at the bottom of the lobby right now with 75 health. Decent econ, though.
Yep.
Looks like Broccoli had a little bit of a difficulty there, so we're going to actually go to the top of the lobby with DarkHydra.
Yeah, no, DarkHydra performed really well in the quarters and semis. Basically like second and first in both of those groups, so had pretty high expectations for him coming into this.
And looking another player with multiple Ezreals, so very, very contested unit right now.
Yeah, now he also has the 2-star Vayne and has the Varus on the bench. So this is a really easy like level 6, 2 Warden, 4 Ranger comp. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have the items for it. We don't see the Shivs. We don't see the IE. Well, we have an IE on the bench, so you could start building an IE and put it on something like the Vayne and then hold that until the Twitch, but choosing to instead focus just on Glacial.
Yeah, and very interesting hex placement for those ocean hexes as the 2 opposite frontline corners. So might not be seeing a ton of value out of those for certain comps.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is something even in the development we were talking about a lot, that like sometimes it's going to be okay that the correct choice is completely ignore the elemental hexes. And I think this is one of those times where, as you said, he's running a Ranger comp, doesn't really need Ocean on his front line.
Right.
So instead chooses better positioning for the champions there. Oof.
Yep.
Ezreal trying his best.
Ooh. Well, that Ezreal needed to hit some very lucky glacial procs there to play that one out, but wasn't quite.
The Ash.
It's an Ash, an Azir 2, and a Yorick. So this is oh boy, maybe a pretty big power spike here for Hydra.
Yeah, I will say I'm a little confused to see the Azir in there, especially when they already have the 4 Rangers on their bench.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out, but Azir's just kind of in there as like a powerful unit, but I think maybe overvaluing that a little bit.
Yeah, looks like they are going to commit some items, a QSS, interesting. So that almost makes me think that they might be keeping the Azir here.
Yeah, which again, I find that like a really interesting play. Especially they had the IE, but
it might actually end up panning out because we did see, I think, at least one, if not 2 other players possibly going into Rangers, though. I think they are arguably in the best position to get the Rangers as they did already have the Ash and actually selling that off, though. So I feel like they're committing into the Azir and friends rather than the Rangers.
Okay, so yeah, actually we've ended up in 3 Summoner. So I will say that 3 Summoner being a pretty big spike here for the Azir, which is nice to see because all the other Azir comps we've seen today haven't really been the Summoner comp.
Right. Yeah, definitely a good shop to hit that Annie, one of the best summoners, to pair with the Azir and the Yorick. So a very good spot here for Hydra. You do see Broccoli actually falling down almost under 50 health already.
So yeah, I saw this as DarkHydra was scouting, but the double static Shiv Ash, really good early game build. With only 1 star, you have to be careful because you're only getting 3 bounces. But if you can keep that going, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, it is a ton of damage, and Salvyyy really going to get a huge power spike when they hit that level 2 Ash. Ooh. Very close, though, actually. DarkHydra almost able to pull that one off, but does fall into second place to Salvyyy as we move into our 3-4 carousel here.
Okay, so Broccoli did win that game, so at least they stopped the bleeding with whatever they transitioned to. We should probably take a look after carousel. But being down another 13 health on Zaza, a little rough there.
Yeah, and okay. It sounds like we're getting word that Broccoli's stream is having some issues here, so we're not going to be able to take a direct look at them, but that's okay. We are seeing Zaza actually, for better or for worse, taking a different strategy than they have in the previous 2 lobbies, not going for that early win streak, or at least not getting it, as they are.
Let's see if it pays off.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a bold strategy cotton situation here, taking the early losses, but we do see them level up to 7. We'll take a look at Gunmay here, who is doing...
Sorry, Narkez hit 6, but everyone else is starting to hit 7. We saw Braum, we saw Varus. Yeah, again, 3-5 is such a great spot to just watch and see what everyone hits. Zaza hit a Braum. MismatchedSocks goes 7.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely keeping an eye on your opponents, and even just at the high level, the side ticker is such a good strategy that I personally do a very bad job of. As anyone who has watched me play at game night on Fridays, I am terrible at scouting. We see these players obviously doing a lot of scouting, and it is really important here.
So Gunmay won that despite being down a level, which is really good. Got some good glacial procs off that Olaf running the 6 Berserker, but until he can 2-star that Olaf, I don't think that'll last very long.
Yeah, it's the double-edged sword because they're a little bit on the weaker side right now, but that does mean they are in a position where they have a lot of upgrades that they can actually get. So it's a position that I kind of like to be in personally, where I have the potential, right? I can see where I'm going. If I hit this Olaf or if I hit this Scion, I'm going to be in a very, very good spot for at least a few more rounds.
Yep. Yeah, and as you mentioned, as they were scouting, did see a lot of Ranger players this lobby. So.
Yeah, so definitely going to be a tough one in this particular lobby, though. We'll see if they potentially maybe go for the assassin variant of the Berserkers. If they can get a spatula, maybe make Olaf an assassin. they can potentially counter that out a little bit, but it is going to be tough as the Rangers are a bit of a natural counter to the Berserkers.
Yeah, so I want to call out Water Bear, by the way, there with his Nasus is doing a lot of work and is now currently in first again. And that Nasus like really hard wrecked the Berserkers that last fight we watched.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely and big Nasus is a very good early game unit to stem a lot of that bleeding. And if you have that Morello's on him, it's really going to be a good damage source in the early game.
Yep. All right, so here's another break point at 4-1 where we can just watch the sidebar and see what everyone hits.
Yep.
There's a bunch of 7. Kiana, yep.
Narkez hitting 7. Hydra hitting 7. Gunmay hitting the Mundo here. Gunmay hitting the Scion as well. So we're seeing the Olaf.
There's the Olaf. So I have to imagine that's a massive power spike for Gunmay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and the Thornmail plus Morello on the Nasus is certainly going to be a big damage dealer for Water Bear, who, again, is in first place in this lobby right now and also in first place in the event right now. So I haven't done the math, and we'll keep my NA caster math to a minimum here, but I believe if they secure the first place here in this game, that might secure them first place overall. So Water Bear putting themselves in a great position.
A couple things I want to call out here, really smart from Water Bear, who has already just proven to be a really good player here. Puts the Redemption on Nasus, giving him a chance to heal back to full during the spell cast. Really smart play. Also has the Hurricane on Ezreal while running 4 Glacial, which is giving even more damage to those auto attacks and to those procs. So just, again, really creative use of the items here. Giving that great front line. Like, this is just such a really good comp we're seeing.
Yeah, it's a very good transition. It actually gets a small upgrade here with the Olaf over the Warwick for the 4 Glacial. So not going to be itemizing the Olaf, but is still going to be a little bit of an annoying piece for his opponents here. So we see Broccoli. We do get a glimpse into Broccoli's comp here. In last place, does have a pretty itemized Azir 2 here, so wondering if that Azir can pop off and actually get the win streak rolling for him.
Now, unless my memory is deceiving me, I might be mixing up games. Broccoli was the one who hard committed to that Ginsu's pretty early, right?
You know, it might very well may be. These games are blurring together a bit for me as well.
But yeah, we're seeing that.
I think that was last game, but
so
I'm sure the chat will be correcting us as quickly. But we are what we like to call esports boomers, as people who are older than 22. So
I should have kept notes. But yeah, oh wow. So we also have, by the way, we have Running Man with Book here, with the Olaf as well. So Gunmay hit really key upgrades. If this comp is ever going to win. He's definitely got some of them. He's also got the Last Whisper on the Olaf, letting Olaf shred through any wardens he's up against.
Right, and here's the test. I mean, it's the Rangers comp with a Shadow Lux as well, and that Shadow Lux just negates so much of those units, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
or Gunmay, those Berserkers are just too strong right now.
Yeah, now this is old news, but GA on Olaf is so good because it allows him to cast, drop aggro, get a bunch of lifesteal back when he reses back up because he keeps his anger form. So just really key itemization there on Olaf to make him work.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, I mean, if they can continue this win streak or continue this power spike going into the late game, I'm wondering if it's how it is going to fare against these Rangers players. Though there are a few, so they might actually cannibalize themselves a bit, leaving a space open for Berserkers. But like you mentioned before, Mort, it is sort of the Rangers sort of naturally beat the Berserkers heads up. So it'd be interesting to see how this comp ends up playing out in this lobby.
Now, Broccoli is at 13, which, again, you got to stay alive before those Raptors so you can get your final batch of items. So hopefully he can pull it off and stay alive that long. But we haven't really seen a lot of success today out of any Azir comps.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to wonder if, like, by now people should be staying away from the Azir, letting other people have it, because this is looking pretty rough right now.
Yeah, we have not. I mean, we've seen some middling success with the Azir, but it has certainly not been in either of the first place comps, and has really led at least a couple of players astray and really sort of baited them into early committing to it.
I'm fucked, dude. I don't have
Okay, so this was the Azir we saw earlier. This was the Summoner Azir.
Yes, this is Broccoli, who looks like we're back on here. Azir getting stunned by the Kiana is not what they wanted to see. It looks like the Azir is putting out a decent amount of damage, but not gonna quite be enough.
If anything, Kha'Zix is doing the work here.
Right.
I think Broccoli barely lives this.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like
because there's not much on the field, so I think he lives.
Yeah, surviving at a mere 6 health. Absolutely needs to pull out a win, but I don't even know what they can. They rolled here, but I don't even know what they could pick up. There's not really a lot of not a lot of room to upgrade here.
Oh, that's a rough game for Broccoli.
For sure. And I mean, Narkez as well, also sub 20. And Gunmay actually on the opposite side with his Berserkers actually on the win streak at 67. Narkez also in critical position here. Does have an early Zed, which is itemized out quite well, but isn't going to be enough. It does have the 3 electric, but a 1-star Zed, not the strongest in the world.
Yeah, and I feel like that Ashe in particular is going to give him a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough,
It still does have 1 copy alive. Summons another. Kills the Kindred now.
he got it.
Looks like it's going to be elementary here unless this Brum goes completely ham. Not going to happen, though.
Yeah.
Stays alive another day against one of the top players in the... Oh, actually, no. Salvyyy is no longer one of the top players, actually near the bottom. And Broccoli, unfortunately, did fall in 8th place here. So that early Azir commit.
The pre-Raptors death always feels bad.
Yeah, it is unfortunately all too familiar for me, but it is certainly not where you want to be when playing in tournament play.
Yeah. Now Gunmay, again, with those Berserkers, he hit that, Running Man with Book. He hit that Olaf with the GA. Mm-hmm. So he's definitely hit that, like, almost optimal Berserker comp.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, a Nico.
Ooh, the Nico for the Zed. Now, what if Nico's worked where when the Zed makes a clone, you can use a Nico's and have it combine into a level 2 on the field? That would be...
Yeah.
I think you should put that in.
He didn't hit the Zed, so he's in this really awkward position where he needs to stay alive, but has to spend... I think he's kind of desperately searching for the Zed at this point.
Mm-hmm. Did not quite find it.
I feel like here you use the Nico on the Taric. Like, I know.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see if this is off.
This is another. Are you going to play to try to win, or are you going to play to not lose? And I feel like, I mean, the Taric is not a bad unit to invest in either way. So definitely a risk here.
2-star Taric is so strong. Like, I get he's running a Zed comp, but Zed can do a lot by just being a body here. I don't know that he needs 2-star Zed.
Do a lot by being multiple bodies here, as we're seeing multiple Zeds. Does end up surviving. Now, I'm wondering, are they going to commit the Nikos? Oh, he just gets the Taric.
Taric for free. Sometimes that happens.
Shows us for saying to commit to it. But...
He is now 1 unit short in his army.
Wow.
He is level 7. He's level 8, but only 7 units, and there's nothing 1 cost in the shop.
Omega lol. That is an interesting.
Meanwhile, Water Bear, by the way, just hit level 9.
Wow. So, Water Bear running away with it here.
Okay, the Taric should keep everyone alive here.
Oh, but the Zed is outside. Luckily, the Zed wasn't being targeted, but the Zed was outside of the Taric alt. unfortunately. Big
Ooh,
Nami
Morello.
came in, applies Morellos to the whole team. It's just clean up here for the Zed army. Actually puts MismatchedSocks into 7th place right now at 10 health. He finds another Tarek in the shop.
I'll also call out that Gunmay's Berserker comp has started to fall off hard. Must not have hit any upgrades recently. Down to 36 health there. So, a little rough.
Yeah, last we saw Gunmay, they were pretty much maxed out in terms of the power level that they could get to. Now we're actually also seeing Gunmay going for the Zed, so not going to be doing Narkez any favors by also taking the Zeds. Picks up another Singed here.
Yeah, so this is Water Bear's really creative again, and creative use of Ezreal, creative use of Glacial. Hitting the Seraphs also here is going to make Ezreal a pretty big powerhouse.
Yeah, having that Ezreal as a carry, then and the beauty of Ezreal is that you can actually invest in him and not feel too bad, but also you can have him be an item carry in the mid game. And Water Bear just putting on a clinic right now.
Yeah, Seraph's Ezreal was definitely one of my favorite champs from this set. So
there's a Seraph's Zed in the shop. Narkez could not have been running for it faster, but didn't actually get it. DarkHydra steals it, and Narkez is just...
Oh, he's got to be frustrated with that.
Just in a nightmare scenario here where they see the Zed that they absolutely critically need, and they just can't get it, and they don't even get their second item choice. So Narkez just in a world of hurt right now unless they can find that Zed. And even if they do, it may be too little too late. They've been rolling down for it every turn for the past 3 or 4 rounds, and economy is shot at this point.
Yeah, I feel like there's already too many Zeds on the board elsewhere also, so... Yeah, now he can't even get the... he could sell the Thresh, buy the Nami, and Nico it there. That's basically his only play here.
And be at 7 out of 8.
Be at 7 out of 8 again.
Oh, he's going for it and actually chooses to...
He sold the 2-star version.
Volley Bear, okay.
Interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
But he does hit that 2-star Nami, so...
And now... I think if he survives here, it's guaranteed that there's a Zed in the shop. I think that's just
up against the top of the lobby though. That's pretty rough. And the Nami wave misses the Ezreal.
Ooh, but the Zed still doing work. Does end up killing the Ezreal. The two-star Nami doing a ton of work, and the Zed army is actually going to clean up and take down Water Bear.
2 other people got knocked out in the meantime.
Yeah, that's actually got to be best case scenario for Narkez as Zaza and MismatchedSocks both fall out here. And if I'm Narkez, I think you're just counting your blessings at this point because you're playing with house money now. I don't think you can ask for better than a 5th place in given the scenario.
The other crazy thing I have to point out: Water Bear is in 1st. Worst case, he probably gets 4th. That's looking real good for Water Bear.
Yeah, I think Water Bear is starting to spend their winnings already. They've got it lined up, but it's still, man.
Ooh, the Braum blocks the Nami wave. That's always one of those tilters
there. That's crazy.
That's always a tilter.
Yeah, man. When the level 2 unit just counters your level 5 and not quite in the stars for Narkez, but man, the 5th place has got to be a happy finish for Narkez considering the circumstances.
Yeah,
Water Bear still in 1st place right now at 56 health, but Salvyyy actually on a win streak right now at 31 health, and we're starting to see. I mean, Salvyyy also with the Ezreal, but actually still has that same level 1 Ashe that he had at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that's definitely a tilter. At least they have the poison, though, so all these Zeds that are running around, they should be able to do okay against.
Right.
It's actually the Berserker comp. Actually, he counters Berserkers pretty heavily, too. So it's maybe Water Bear's Ezreal that he's actually the most afraid of, although there's the Ashe finally.
Yeah, finally got his Ashe. He does actually have 2 Zeds. Poor Narkez had to die to donate the Zeds. It's a level 2 Tarek as well, which is a huge upgrade for Salvyyy here, as now a lot of his team is going to be saved by that tier 2 Taric ult.
I could be misreading this, but I think what Salvy's doing is actually like really correct here, which is that I think he's buying the Zeds to simply prevent them from going anywhere else. I don't think he has any intent in running them.
No, I mean, at this point, you're costing yourself an econ, but at this point in the game, how much is that actually worth? Probably not as much as keeping your Zed opponents off of a tier 2 Zed, which is a huge upgrade.
For sure.
So definitely
Gunmay
all there, and Gunmay getting taken out by Salvyyy as well. So see if Water Bear actually also with the W and Water Bear.
Water Bear first or second, regardless, has to be happy with this outcome.
Yeah, I mean, Water Bear can feel free to go get a drink and come back for the next round, because it does not matter what they get here. Really, Water Bear just playing spoiler at this point for the rest of the lobby. But Salvyyy still in the running here. I know they had a weak finish.
Big upgrade.
Now also getting that level 2 Taric, which is going to be huge as well.
I'll also call out, by the way, the singed itemization here with the double Gunblade. Pretty fascinating. But if Gunblade worked with Morello, that would be an unkillable singed.
Oh boy. Yeah, that would be just a ton. Like not quite going to be enough. Looking like that Ashe actually just in the back line for Salvyyy is just too much for Water Bear to take out. But Water Bear still in first here. Salvyyy on the 7 win streak. He's going to have to win at least a couple more like that.
Yeah, I feel like Salvy's running the 10-4 comp that everyone was saying was the best, or was it 10-3? This was the Poison Crystal 4 Ranger. Just you have all the expensive units. You've got the 2-star Taric. You've got the 2-star Singed.
He's got a Crystal Lux in the shop. Is he going to go for it?
Oh, my goodness.
He's hovering over it.
Karma there. I feel like you sell Karma, or at least the Zeds. Especially because Water Bear's already hit his 2-star Zed. Now you're not really countering anything. Yeah, see, there you go. And you buy that Crystal Lux.
I doubly wanted him to do that, because now it opens up Water Bear to get the 3-star Zed.
That would be fascinating.
Which I would accept, even in lieu of 6 Woodland. I would accept a 3-star Zed as well.
Did he lock shop?
No, he sold the Zeds and bought the Lux, I believe.
Okay. So yeah, getting that Ionic Spark on the Zed was definitely what Water Bear's plan was there. I think he sells the Karma here. Oh, the Malphite, really? Okay.
Interesting. Looking like
he values that Karma shield.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's valuing that Karma shield really highly. Because again, that attack speed boost, 50% attack speed on the Ashe, is a lot of damage, no question.
Yeah, it's... I'm wondering what Water Bear can do here to actually pull out the victory, as Salvyyy has won the last 2 against him.
I mean, Ionic Spark Zed here is a good upgrade, for sure. But, I mean, you have to really get on that Ashe, and...
Right. Who does actually take out the Ashe, but the Twitch is there.
Oh.
Pick up the pieces, getting all of those stacks from all of those killed Zeds.
Yeah, Water Bear's doing his best for 3 in a row, but, I mean, again, you can't be upset with a second place here.
I mean, at this point, he's just going for style points. So this game might actually mean more to him than any of the others, because it's like, I don't only want to win the set 2 finale. I want to ace it. I want to get the perfect score.
That would be quite impressive.
Although, I will say shame on him for not going for the 3-star Zed, even though it was clearly incorrect to go for it. I'm personally upset that he didn't go for it.
That would be quite a way to finish. All right, if Singed walks... see, Singed just keeps missing the Ashe there, unfortunately.
He is missing the Ashe, but a lot. There's not that much that's targeting him until it does.
Yeah, I was about to say, that Ashe is just so much damage. So
that Ashe taking it out. Salvyyy with the first, and Water Bear with the second after 2 firsts in the first 2 rounds. I don't know if we've seen such dominance at a tournament level. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. A first, and a second here going into the final round. We do have the scores here. Water Bear at 40 points. That all but.
Check this out. Water Bear, worst case, 43. Salvyyy gets first, 42.
So Water Bear does cinch it up, but we take a look at so Water Bear could really sit this one out and is going to be fine. Salvyyy, DarkHydra, Narkez, Mismatch. I mean, everyone is still in the loop for prizing out. So even though Water Bear has secured the W here, we have a very compelling game to be played in the bottom 7 because, again, first place is going to get that 500 smackaroonies. Second is going to get 250. Third, 150. And fourth is going to walk away with a nice, crisp, fresh, new Benjamin. So I don't know if it's going to probably not going to be a real Benjamin, but PayPal or whatever. But it's still you still want to be getting that, and all of the players I believe are still in contention for getting at least a top 4 here. So all of these players are still going to be playing the top. And if I'm Water Bear, even if you can take this one off and you don't have to stress it, but if I'm Water Bear, I want to finish as strong as possible. I also want to dream crush people because that's just the type of degenerate tournament player I am to try to get, I want that super first.
I think, if you're trying to be a competitive player and play in these tournaments like that, coming out with a big tournament and then just like really crushing the competition is a really good way to build a name for yourself. Absolutely. So I think even if Water Bear can come out with like another first or second, people are going to have to start taking him real seriously from that point on.
Right. And I personally had not heard a ton from Water Bear before this event, but this is not just a player came out of nowhere and won a one-off event or, won this is 32 of the best challenger players from Lobby 2, which I know a lot of you have heard of, the best players in NA and EU. 32 players played preliminaries and semifinals here. We're in the top 8 now, and Water Bear just put on a masterclass in this final round, in this finals here. So we'll see as we get into our final game here. What are we going to be playing?
3 out of the 4 elements. We got a cloud game here.
Oh, no Mortdog Mountain, so we're not going to be seeing
no
Malzahar Mountain.
Now, if you're lucky, Blevins, if you whisper Water Bear right now, you can maybe convince him to go that 6 woodland build.
I was just gonna say, if I'm Water Bear, I either want to completely dominate or I want to do some sort of meme build. There's 2 options here, and it's gotta be one or the other. If we just see like a 4th place out of Water Bear, and they want a standard comp, that's going to be unacceptable. In fact, I think that we can't take away prize money, but I will be upset.
Yeah, I think the important thing to look at past Water Bear here is just like, some of the other players like MismatchedSocks, Salvyyy are really going to try to like come out here with a first to try to bounce themselves up, because even coming out second in this tournament could mean a lot.
Yeah, Salvyyy is currently in 2nd place, and again, the difference between 2nd place and 3rd place in the rankings is $100. That's it's nothing to sneeze at for sure. So, and also I know Salvyyy is a streamer that puts in a lot of time. So any amount of sort of exposure and being on those top 8 lists, being on the competitive Reddit and people talking about it is definitely going to be a big thing for a player like Salvyyy or a Narkez or any of these players, MismatchedSocks, getting your name out there. Already being in the top 8 here is going to be very useful and helpful for them, but getting that solid finish is going to be very, very good. So hopefully these players are going to be, this I think is going to be the crunchiest game in terms of players really going for it here.
For sure.
You do see.
If we take a look at someone like MismatchedSocks and see how they're starting off, it'll be interesting to see all the different ways we've started, because we've seen a lot of how Water Bear's been playing, which has been really good. But I know MismatchedSocks, for example, is like #1 in the NA lobby or in Challenger ladder. So yeah, they're going more of the Warden, get the econ, because you'll see them sell here. Yeah, and this was the thing with Rise of the Elements too. It was like there's just a lot of gold, keeping a lot of units, and just kind of playing what you get for a lot of the early game.
Mm-hmm. And interesting enough, again, we mentioned it a couple of games ago, but no one has gone Predators at all. We have not seen any hyper roll Predators. We haven't seen any. I mean, we've seen it played. We've seen the synergy played a little bit, but we haven't seen anyone actually go the Predators. So very interesting. We've seen a lot of Azir, but not really a lot of success out of the Azir.
Yeah, game 2 we saw 2 Predator players early, but they all transitioned out of it real quickly here. So it just seems like, at least in the Challenger meta, Predator has just fallen off and no one's made that 3-star Kog'Maw working, or they're looking at it and saying it's too risky for a tournament format, because if you don't hit that Cog, you're looking at a fast 8th.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I think that it's just we need to be playing more and more tournaments, which is awesome that a place like giantslayertft is doing weekly tournaments as well as these bigger tournaments, and getting players in and really getting them acclimated to a tournament setting, because like you said, it is a completely different game playing on ladder and going for firsts versus, a lot of these players are just going to try, a player like Salvyyy absolutely needs to not get 8th right now, because they are in 2nd place in the standings, and an 8th could really push them out of the money depending on who gets 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So we're going to see a different style of play out of Salvyyy and some of the other players that we would maybe see if they were just playing on ladder right now.
Yeah. So one thing to call out here is we were just looking at MismatchedSocks before, who was already up to like 28 gold. And now here we are looking at Zaza, who's still at that below 10 gold, but has a really full bench, trying to hit some of these pairs, trying to get a direction, and kind of struggling to do so right now.
And Water Bear, oh man, has Water Bear read my mind? No, he doesn't have any woodlands on the bench. He's got some woodland, or he's got some druid woodlands in now, but man, I want to see that 6 wood. That would just be the greatest tournament experience ever. They pulled off the 6 woodlands. Just the style points would be off the charts.
I will say 6 woodland has been an interesting experience for us since we added it, because we always get these reports of like, oh, I hit it and I got 6th with it. Oh, I hit it and I got 7th with it. And then you get the people like me who every time I've hit it is just like easiest first of my life.
Yeah. And I say to those people, just be glad that you hit it, because I have tried to force it so many times and have not gotten it. So
okay, in this lobby, every single person just hit 4. So nobody choosing to level this time.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we've seen, this is our 4th game, obviously, and we've seen, I would say, 4 very different starts to these lobbies. It is not like, okay, well, it's very standard, everyone just running out the chess opening simulations. Absolutely not. It has been very diverse in each of these 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, we see some pretty standard stuff that we like to see, like people trying to run the early Electric Glacial. We saw some of the Inferno Rangers early on, and then usually the Woodland start seem to be sort of the premier strong comps. But one thing I'll call out is it seems like a lot of people are overvaluing those comps a little bit, as opposed to what Water Bear was doing, which was like chasing after some of the more uncontested comps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really are you playing the big M meta of what everyone says is the best, or are you playing the little M meta of the lobby that you're in? And it seems like Water Bear has really mastered that little M meta, and it is obviously paid off here.
Yep. So right now, DarkHydra, the only undefeated player at the moment, so we'll have to see what they're building. But as we've seen, like early 2-4, whoever's winning doesn't necessarily translate to late game success here.
Right. In fact, we've seen a lot of the times the player that was winning at 2-4 ended up getting bottom 4.
Yeah, there were some pretty rough Zaza going from 1st to 7th on game 2 there. That was a little rough.
Yeah.
Okay, DarkHydra. Yeah, again, we see a lot of Electric and a lot of Glacial. DarkHydra choosing to go Rangers, getting a few more of those uncontested units, and now choosing to level the 5 to keep that win streak going.
Yep. Does throw in the Azir, but man, is it gonna be another Azir bait, which we've seen this whole event? It doesn't look like they're really committing too much to it, so it could just be the best unit they can put in right now. But
yeah, I think that's more the case right now. Is it's just like, let's commit to getting this in there. Let's get that level 5 win streak going and let Vayne and Varus do a lot of the work. Honestly surprised he's not locking in the Shiv, because that would definitely guarantee the win streak keep going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it almost seems like that will... The Shiv definitely puts them in a certain wedge of comps, which it looks like they're going anyway. So I do agree that that would be a decent pull there, especially with another bow on the bench, because a lot of times they want a Rage Blade, but didn't need it. Got it pretty simply there.
Yeah, I expect DarkHydra basically is waiting to see what happens at Krugs, and then after Krugs, we'll probably see him slam down and either commit to these Rangers or maybe hit something like a Rage Blade and pivot into a Nazir comp. But
and there's the Ezreal.
Or another example would be Ezreal with Seraphs would be another comp he could go.
This is a Ranger game. Remember the aesthetics.
Yep, we've seen. I think Ezreal has really supplanted himself as one of the best units overall in set 2 so far. Off after the his buffs as well as the glacial sort of rework has really just put himself in such a versatile spot.
He feels like the Lysandra of set 1. You know, Lysandra was basically the worst champ at the beginning of launch set, and by the end was like the best 2-cost carry in the game.
Oh yeah, oh man, I remember those days. Just we had a player in the Little Legends community that would hyper carry the Lysandra before it was good, and then she got buffed, and everyone was like, "He's a genius." Shout out to Osto, by the way. Got to give the shout outs. I don't even know if he plays anymore, but yeah, it was definitely one of the more fun. Carries to go was Lysandra carry, and now Ezreal definitely does feel a lot like that, and. Yeah. He's very fun to play. You can go hyper carry on him, and he can also be a perfectly fine item carrier, if nothing else.
Now, one thing to call out, you mentioned Salvyyy, who is in second, needing to not get 8th, is currently in 8th. So hopefully that doesn't stay that way.
Yeah, I've seen enough Salvyyy streams to know he's got he plays a lot like Crowan has in tournament play, where he just like he'll go up and down. It's just completely unfazed by it. Just knows where he needs to be at certain points. If he's a little bit lower at other points, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, he already locked in the Ludens here, which makes me think we're about to see a really high APM roll down here for Preds.
Ooh, let's see it. I know I can't do it. I'm the
57
worst.
gold. But again, like normally I would say transitions out of this and don't stay here, but he already locked the Ludens.
Yeah, locked the Ludens, and
here we go.
It does seem pretty risky. I think he missed a Mundo there. There's a.
I don't think he's trying to keep the Mundo. I think he's really just looking for the Preds.
Yeah.
And this is that micro optimization where you buy all the other units of similar cost, deciding if he wants to go the Braum. He's choosing not to go the Braum, which is interesting because I guess he could pivot into an Ezreal carry with Braum, put the Ludens on the Ezreal, which is definitely weaker than the COG version, but at least it would give him a slightly better late game carry.
It's also better if you don't hit the COG for sure.
Yeah.
Very also another sort of high level play here as well. Just chose to stop rolling. Like that is a pitfall I fall into a lot. Is like, well, I guess I started rolling, gotta keep going.
Yeah, I feel like this is putting him in a really tough position though, because when you go Preds and you lock that Luden but don't hit the COG, you are really weak. So he's gonna have to make some real tough decisions here on how to get out of this comp. Like, for example, here, like trying to pivot into a Glacial. See, now he's, 4 Glacial at 3-2 is really strong. I'll give him that. But that is so fragile.
He keeps all right, he wants to keep Predator with the Warwick. Man, sells the Olaf. I'm wondering where does this comp lead? That's what I'm wondering.
That's the big challenge here. Alternatively, he could just stay at 5 because 4 Glacial is a lot of power at 5, and just roll his excess gold every turn, trying to hit that COG, trying to hit those other Predators. But again, that's just so high risk when you still have 6 Kog'Maws to go.
Yeah, and I feel like, man, from a tournament perspective, high risk is not where Salvyyy wanted to be, given that with the exception of Water Bear. He is in first place in this tournament. Water Bear obviously is the actual first place and has run away with it. But in terms of the rest of the players, he was in first place and just needed to get a solid finish to secure that. So really interesting choices here.
So we'll see what he does with his gold here.
And like we're seeing some more rolls. Another Ezreal.
Okay, yeah. So it's gonna keep going.
Oh, hits another cog. Another cog 2, but he still needs 3 more.
I mean, for one turn to hit 3 cogs, that's really good. And so yeah, he's doing the stay above 50 strat, where he's just gonna every turn spend his gold above 50. So on the other side, DarkHydra is still in first with an undefeated, probably running those Rangers. I'm curious if he locked in the Shiv. So we'll have to look at that after this fight.
Yeah, we're gonna take a look at DarkHydra in just a second here, but it looks like Salvyy's
pulling off some wins.
Yeah, he's pulling off some wins, stabilizing a bit. Is actually not even in last place anymore, pulling ahead of Mitch. I've been saying it right the whole tournament. In the last game, I can't say MismatchedSocks. That's crazy. MismatchedSocks actually falling into 8th place with 57. And actually, we saw DarkHydra just took a big 15 health hit.
Yeah.
And now Zaza is actually on a win streak again. So this is all over the place. And Water Bear actually in the bottom 4 for, I don't know if it's the first time this tournament, but is certainly not spent a lot of time in the bottom 4 in terms of health.
So DarkHydra's probably after another bow if he did lock in that Shiv, as I'm hearing. So if he can get that Scion, unfortunately it's not near him. So, but Gunmay is going to let it. Oh no, maybe a Hurricane.
I'm getting reports in Twitch chat, so take it for what it's worth that Water Bear might actually be going for the Druids.
Oh geez. Okay, yeah. So sure enough, is this Hurricane Vayne?
Hurricane.
Because again, I'm not sure why else you would take that cloak willingly. Okay, so we're in 4 Rangers for sure. Debating if he's going to go lights or not. Chooses to buy the Aatrox over the Azir. That at least makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a ton of success with the Azir or with the Azir, but I don't. No, we also haven't really seen any success with lights either.
Lights are pretty rough too. So
yeah.
Okay,
we haven't really seen light Rangers though.
True. Oh, that double Ludens though. Salvyyy hit the second Ludens. That is certainly the way to hit like the Kog'Maw if you can go double Ludens.
Yeah. And Salvyyy is also 1 Kog'Maw away from Cog 3.
Oh gosh, I just noticed that. Yeah, you're right.
Wow. So man, this is turning around and Salvyyy slowly but surely moving up.
Okay, sure enough, Water Bear's got a lot of woodland units.
And if there ever a time to will a woodland Lux into existence, now would be. Although he has 0 Maokai, so I don't know. Even if he got the woodland Lux right now, it still wouldn't be enough.
I mean, certainly the way you play this and the way I found success with this is you just hit the 4 woodlands, and then you actually just econ hard, rush to 9. And that's basically your only way to get it. Trying to roll it at 7 or 8 is just ludicrously a waste.
Yeah. Ooh, and we're getting reports that Salvyyy actually did hit the Cog 3, so this could be a huge power spike for him. We'll take and it looks like in the sidebar we can see that he did win rather quickly even. So Salvyyy
certainly 3-star Cog with double Ludens and Glacial for 4 Glacial. That's going to be a monster.
It is absolutely going to be a monster, but again, Salvyyy needs to get a high finish overall. He's going to be strong right now. And the beauty of this also is that he has maintained his economy throughout. So, like you mentioned, he was doing the slow roll, only rolling his excess gold above 50. So he's actually in a position where he is at 52 gold right now. Still a little under leveled, but is in a very strong spot moving forward here.
I will say, in my experience, if you can hit the 3-star cog with these items, you're pretty much guaranteed a top 4. Like, that's a really hard comp to challenge. So I would expect to see Salvyyy be pretty happy with this, and like I said, probably at least hit top 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was calling it out as maybe a risky play, but it seems like the joke's on me. If he can get, when he gets this this hit, he actually is in a very, very consistent spot. So kudos to Salvyyy for recognizing that Preds might actually just be the most consistent way to get a top 4.
Yeah, as well as like the fact we pointed out that like basically no one has played it for 3 games, so it being a bit of an open lobby for him and just an open lane and take that.
Also, he can employ the time-honored strategy of just saying "me Preds" at the beginning. So if he did that, that's really the pro play.
The other thing to point out here is that he got a second spatula. If he can get a belt off of the carousel, he can go 6 glacial.
Ooh, that would be very strong. Yeah. Certainly a strong contender for top 4, even at this early point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, in 10-5, the 6 glacial got a pretty big buff. So if you can hit that 6 glacial, especially with 2 spatulas like this, and be predators, any glacial proc might just tear through somebody.
Does opt for the steal bonus, putting in Nocturne after leveling up. So again, just really securing this win streak.
Good for buying time for that cog to do its work. Steal is a fascinating trait because for a long time, a lot of people were so insistent that Steal was the reason why Nocturne was overpowered. Fast forward, Steal hasn't changed. Turns out Steal not actually that overpowered.
Yeah. Oh, how the tides have turned, and oh, how people learn.
Yeah, certainly Nocturne got nerfed since then, but it certainly wasn't Steal that was doing that work.
Right.
Now, Dragon's Claw is really good into this, but ooh, there you go.
Huge. Does the Syndra ult? The Syndra ult doesn't kill him. He survives. How much health does he have? If I'm Salvyyy, how can you not look at how much health that your Kog'Maw has? He's just completely emotionless after that.
He's so intense. He's going.
He's just like, oh yeah, I won. I'm not only looking at how much health my Cog had left. I'm spamming in the chat. LOL. Lived with 5 health. Like, yeah. But that's fine.
You see me react to those close games where it's just like, yes.
Salvyyy just ice in the veins, has one goal, and that is to get a top 4 or better in this lobby. And it's looking like he's in a good position to do that. We are taking a look over at Narkez right now, who is in last place with 26 health, running the Ocean Warden Mages here.
Now, the positive is he's got the Malphite in his shop that he can lock. But the negative is without hitting that 2-star brand, probably going to be really struggling here for a while.
Struggling, and also, I mean, a Rage Blade is an all right item on the brand, but certainly not what you want. Certainly not the perfect itemization for brand.
Now, I will point out Water Bear had a Zed already.
Yeah. Water Bear picking up the early Zed, though. I mean, it's not a Woodland Lux. I mean, come on. If it's not a Woodland Lux, I don't want to see it.
Now, credit to Narkez here. He is going to do something that the one of the cool things with the carousel selling trick was he has the Malphite in the shop, so if he's fast enough, he's going to sell this Taric, use the gold to buy the Malphite, and still get his roll.
He's
really high APM check.
Yeah, I am. A lot of people have asked you about it and complained about it, that it's gone. But even as someone who I personally have taken advantage of that, I'm just glad that it's not there because I just don't want to have to. I don't want to have to do it,
There it is.
Got it.
So now if he can hit a brand, he can stay alive, but it's not looking like it's in the cards for him.
No. Unfortunately, it's going to cost him a good amount of gold there as well. I mean, that's the sort of the catch-22 of, well, I need to spend this gold to get my upgrade, but if I don't get that power upgrade, I'm in an even worse spot than I was. So,
yep.
Very tough spot here for Narkez, potentially on a last life scenario.
Wow, even makes the Hand of Justice. I will say at least like if you're going to go out, like spending your items, trying to stay alive, that's definitely the way to do it.
Scrapping away till the very end, Narkez is certainly doing that. And at the very least, maybe softening the blow, if nothing else, if he does end up losing, which it looks like he very well may here, unless this brand alts.
I'd rather lose like this than like holding the item for Raptors trying to greed it out. Oh, 4-5.
Just
Rough.
barely falls out.
But again, I think he did everything in his power to try to pull that out. So props to him.
Yeah, at least at the end of the game. So Narkez unfortunately falling out in 8th place here, but we see Salvyyy and Gunmay both on
Glacial. 6 Glacial. Did it without the spatula, so probably wants to later pull out that Volibear. But for now, that's a big power spike here.
Yeah, 6 Glacial, the 3-star cog. The top 4 is looking even more eminent for Salvyyy here, but we have seen some upsets in this tournament so far.
Yeah, every time that Glacial procs, that damage is just massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then of course you just have
and then Predator just tears it apart. Woo.
Definitely a 5-head play here for Salvyyy. Calling out me Preds and just running with it, and even the 6 Glacial. Just
I'll admit, I've been a little in Galaxy Land. The Glacial 6 is 375.
I am going to nod my head and say yes, because I certainly don't know better than you do.
I think that's what it is.
Chat is saying 475, although it's one person in chat, so who knows?
475? Okay. I can't remember what I buffed it to. I've been in Galaxy Land so long, but we're definitely seeing it even after Magic Resist and those fights was still procking for like 300. Yeah, it's 450 there, 475. So thank you, chat.
Sometimes Twitch chat knows, and let me emphasize this: sometimes.
But yeah, I mean, like to give you an idea, right? Like a 2-star Ash is sitting on like 900 HP, so a single Glacial proc with no crystals, like half that.
Yeah,
pretty powerful.
Ooh. Very, very powerful. Actually, taking out. Oh no! Oh, are we gonna see potentially glacial? Oh, glacial Twitch.
That's a good one.
With the Quicksilver, so going to probably get at least one alt off. So definitely a strong spot for Salvyyy here.
Now, we saw this last game too, but Gunmay running the Berserkers again, just like he did last game. And last game, he won streak with them pretty hard till right about now, and then started falling off.
Yep.
So
actually not falling off, and instead actually chunking Salvyyy quite a bit here.
Yeah, it's the fall off is like right around 5-3, 5-4 when people start hitting their like 2-star Teryx and their other things like that. So that's the thing. Gunmay's got a really good comp for right about now. But keep an eye out for, as people hit their bigger power spikes, that Olaf to start falling off.
Mm-hmm.
So like even there, Salvyyy just hit poison, for example, which will be good against the Olaf.
For sure. And we are actually taking a look at MismatchedSocks here, who is also, as well as Zaza, in 1 death territory. Does have a Z1 and is playing against a ghost, so hopefully for them is going to survive here. Puts the RFC on the Z as well. I've really loved RFC on Z. I just love RFC as an item. One of my favorite items in the game.
It's a fun one.
I
will say, though, he's running the Z without electric, which is a little tough. Water Bear at 3 health, by the way.
Oh, and actually...
Oh, and Zaza knocked out.
Zaza is gone. Water Bear at 3 health. Again, Water Bear is under no pressure whatsoever to perform here, but man.
Shall we see if Water Bear at least was trying to do the woodland still?
Yeah, maybe we take a quick look at Water Bear and see what sort of memery they may have been going after. Well, they still have the woodland in. Looks like
trying.
They're trying for it. Hey,
you better say thank you after the game.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly noble, and they even found a Lux, just not the right one. You know, I would say hats off, but taking my hat off involves me taking my headphones off, which is just too much work. But just know it's hats off to you, Water Bear.
Nice. Salvyyy lost that one. Gunmay lost the previous one. Although Gunmay will definitely win this one.
Yep, Water Bear is out in 6th place. Ooh, and DarkHydra surviving with just 2 health.
I can find Sinshare or Zed here.
Gunmay winning again, so this is a very tight lobby up at the top here.
Yeah,
Salvyyy is got to love seeing these players fall, as it's going to just increase the number of points he's going to be getting. I don't know what the point threshold is, but we'll see it after the game anyhow. So Salvyy's certainly fighting for his life. And I know it was Salvyyy was at 20-something points, and then there's a big glut of players that were all tied. So a lot of these players are, every single one of these placements matters. So
poor MismatchedSocks. He took the singed with the disarm to try to hit the singed, and then first shop had a singed. So he's stuck with a disarmed singe now just to try to hit that 2-star singe. Feels a little bad.
Yes, but that is how that works, though, right? You do all this work to jump through hoops just to try to get it, and then you could have just gotten it anyway.
Yeah, why didn't you just play around it? Come on.
Oh wait, shit.
Yeah, how come you just? Why didn't you just know?
Yeah. Up against. Oh, good Zephyr though. That Zephyr might actually give him just enough time.
Yes, did Zephyr the cog, and the first cog all didn't do too much. Fortunately, well.
Oh, there you go. See, Zephyr
actually coming in the clutch there.
DarkHydra also living.
Yeah, DarkHydra living. Man, that is not great for Salvyyy. Still in a good spot though. Has at least a couple of lives here. Not going to be taking 30 anytime soon. Really would love to see one or both of these sub 10 players taken out.
Okay. I want to talk about mismatch comp here a little bit. This is really creative. He's basically got a Singed who's going to be doing a lot of the damage, but he's also running 4 Mystics. So that Singed is going to be really tanky, allowing that Morello to burn down quite a bit. Also has the Cloud. So again, very, very tanky. And then finally 3 Assassins so that Kiana can get to that backline. Now, unfortunately, he does run up against the Electric player, which is probably like the toughest matchup. But again, at least 4 Mystic to help make that work. The lack of poison, though, I do think is going to cost him this round, but we'll see.
There was also an interesting interaction there where Ezreal actually triggered the Singed Trap Claw, but since Ezreal has the QSS, didn't get stunned from it.
Ooh. So yeah, again, I think this is the second time we've seen this tournament where using 4 Mystic to beat that Electric, really well played.
DarkHydra does fall there in 5th place.
Salvyyy hit the Rek'Sai 3.
Salvyyy hit the Rek'Sai 3. Recently buffed Rek'Sai 3.
That's right. 1,000 true damage.
That's a spicy meatball. That's probably racist. I'm sorry, but it's going to be a very, very strong Rek'Sai, and Salvyyy again really hoping to take out some of these lower level players. Though MismatchedSocks on a win streak at 8 health.
Yeah, again, MismatchedSocks has done this pretty much all tournament, showing that he can take what looks like a rough start and transition it into late game success. So major props to him as well.
Absolutely. Wondering, just looking for the Zed, it looks like.
Yeah, it's too high competition right now, though.
Yep. Looks like Zed has really been sort of the belle of the ball of this event. Zed and Ezreal, it seems, have really been sort of the 2 pillars in different capacities, though, but for this set of 10.5 set.
So now this is going to be the rough matchup here. At least he has the Cloud, but 4 Mystic's not going to really do a lot against that Berserker Olaf.
Just going to keep on chunking. Although,
no, we're good.
the Singe did hit him, not quite enough. Survives with the GA, moves on, kills a Zed clone, goes back to the other Zed. He turns around and there's more clones.
Yeah, Like I said, rough matchup there.
Fourth for that position wasn't bad.
Just barely gets there. Salvyyy also did get a loss, but survives with 8 health, secures him at least a top 3 here. So really happy if you're Salvyyy right now. Gunmay, however, just cruising along, 67 health at a win streak.
Now again, last game we saw Gunmay struggle with the Berserkers in the late game.
Yeah.
But here we're seeing those Berserkers carry him all the way. So definitely about how you play it. This time he has the Mystics instead of the Poison, so maybe that's making the big difference for Olaf to survive, which again shows that power of that 2 Mystic buff.
Absolutely, and that and the fact that we're not really seeing Rangers played in the same capacity as we did last game as well.
That's true. That's true.
Really
the lack of Ranger counters.
Yeah, really opening up the Olaf quite a bit, but Gunmay does take out Salvyyy, so Salvyyy ends up in 3rd place here. Broccoli staying alive, so we'll have to see how the math lines up after this game, but Salvyyy putting up certainly a respectable and very good finish here to potentially put him in 2nd place, but next to Water Bear. But I'm not sure where Gunmay lined up there, but we'll see right after the end of this game. And
I also just noticed that there's a second Olaf in now. That's an assassin Olaf.
Ooh.
That allows him to get to that back line and free some important units. So like the assassin Olaf here is going to hit that Nami, which is really good for him.
Yeah. And I just want to point this out. He did lock here. The Olaf on the in the shop is just 2 axes away from 18 axes, which would be a personal favorite of mine as well, but not sure that the game is going to last to that, though. Maybe I spoke too soon. The Zed army is coming back and actually does take down Gunmay.
Give me something good. What the fuck?
So I'm Gunmay here. I'm probably looking for maybe the Bloodthirster, maybe the IE.
I guess it's GA. Yeah, it's GA.
Choose for the GA. GA is always a safe, like standard pick.
Yeah.
Could also have taken the Zeeks.
Oh, sorry, I was wrong. I thought that was a 2-star Olaf on the in play. I thought he was closer. No, he's 6 axes away.
2 GA'd Olafs though is about as good as you can get there.
That is true.
I think the only change is maybe position the other Olaf to be in the locket range instead of the Jax. Okay, he's going to switch to a front.
Frontlining entirely. Interesting. Last second frontline.
Frontline assassin seems a little questionable there.
For sure. He does jump actually over to...
He got lucky no one else was in the position there, so that's good. The other thing I'll call out is Berserker on a cloud map is putting him at a slight disadvantage compared to any other map. But thankfully it looks like it's not going to matter, and he's going to take it.
Yep. Gunmay taking the 1st place here with Broccoli in 2nd and Salvyyy in 3rd here. So that is our final match. We're going to let the computers behind the scenes calculate some final numbers here. But before that, Mort, what did you think about this set 2 finale and how it ended up playing out?
It made me happy actually as a developer, because it was like we got to see a wide variety of comps win. It wasn't just Zed comp winning every game. We saw Berserkers win. We saw the Poison Ranger win. We saw Preds make a pretty good performance, which just sort of showed that like even over time, the set had a lot of ways to be played. A lot of ways could win. And I was really happy to see just like how these players pushed it to its absolute peak. Oh yeah, the 6 Shadow 4 Mystic. That was another really cool one.
With a Titanic Hydra, I mean,
yeah, Titanic Hydra's farewell, because we'll never see that item again. So, yeah, no, it was really good. And again, seeing these top level players, I hope to see more of this kind of stuff in the future. So,
yep, and it does look like we do. Salvyy's 3rd place finish was enough to actually secure him a 2nd place here. So we have Water Bear in 1st here with 45. We did know that going in. Salvyyy with 38 here. Gunmay in third with 33. And we're getting word from the producers about the tiebreaker here. Hydra did end up winning the tiebreaker here, coming in fourth here with 30 points, walking away with a cool $100. So congrats to everyone who played in this tournament. Was an absolute blast to cast and watch. Was just great. And it looks like we are going to get Water Bear in here for an interview.
No.
Yes. We are going to, in just a second here, jump over to interview Water Bear here. Just give us a second and we will be right there. All right. We're getting Water Bear in here in just a second. But yeah, I mean, for me, this was just it was a masterclass in a lot of ways for set 2. I mean, there were so many. I mean, I as a sort of low diamond, high plat level player, like there's so many things that a lot of these players did that just I never would do because it's just not something I would do. And we also saw the flexing. And I mean, Salvyy's adaptation in the end to just go Preds to secure the top 4 was something we saw that was an adaptation for specifically the tournament. So
sweet.
Really, really high level play. Looks like we do have Water Bear in here right now for the interview. First off, congrats. Just absolute masterful performance. Going into this event, I mean, did you expect to come out in such dominant fashion for this tournament?
No, not at all. I'm not even like challenger, so going up against like rank 1 and A and like top 5 players, like I was just here to have fun basically. And I'm really surprised, honestly.
I'm surprised to hear you say that because like Mort and I were talking, like you did some really crazy adaptations that really ended up playing off, like the 4 Mystic we saw to counter the electric and some really, really high level play.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of in shock.
Yeah, that's great.
Was there any moment in particular from the 4 games that really stood out to you as like a key reason why you won?
I think the first game I hit Kindred before Krugs, or like at Krugs, and I just like once I hit that, I was like, okay, I feel really good because that like set the tone for the rest of the games. Then I hit Shadow Lux really early too, so I was able to go 6 Shadow, and that really just kind of gave me the confidence to keep going. Because to be honest, I was really intimidated because you know all these guys are really good players, so you know that just kind of gave me the confidence to just keep going and just keep playing and just be like I wasn't even looking at the scores. Like people were saying what the scores were, and I was like, I don't even want to look because I know if I focus on that, I won't.
Yeah,
I'll just start thinking too much and be in my own head. But yeah, I think once I hit Kindred 2 there, and yeah, that just kind of set the tone.
Yeah, nice job though.
Yeah, really, really, really great play, and I'm kind of floored to hear you say that because you just did such a fantastic. I mean, there were so many times. I mean, I can't even remember them all. Mort and I were talking about just some of the adaptations you did, and then really, really high level stuff. So again, kudos. And I do want to ask because chat was telling me that you were actually going for the 6 Woodland in the last game.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, I was.
Oh, that's awesome.
I saw 4 different Luxes. I rolled down so much gold to 8. I saw 4 different Luxes. None of them were Woodland Lux though. It's so close.
So close. I mean, I was hoping for a 6 Woodland game from the beginning, so definitely glad to see you go out there. But we are going to head out here. Any last words or shout outs that you want to give Water Bear before we head out here?
I just want to say thank you to Striving Light, and I know there's GiantslayerTFT, you guys for doing all this, Mortdog, Blevins, you guys for casting. Shout out to a lot of the high elo players that I've watched. Like I watch a lot of Soju, I watch a lot of Kermex, I watch just Socks has helped a lot. Salvyyy, all the people that in the last game, the finals, like I've watched them and they've helped me. So, you know, hopefully I can hit Challenger now. You know, that might be the next thing. That's probably harder than, for some reason, that's harder than what I just did, I guess. Thanks.
Well, I think a lot of people would maybe contest that because you did absolutely come out and not only come out in first in a field of 32 of the best players in NA and EU, but came out in dominant fashion. So I would say keep on doing what you're doing. And there's no doubt in my mind that we'll be seeing more of you in the Challenger lobbies and in the tournament scene. So huge congrats to you again, Water Bear, for the amazing finish. But Mort, our time here is short. This is the finale of set 2. Are there any last minute, any last parting words for Rise of the Elements?
I think on behalf of the entire dev team, obviously, thank you everyone who's enjoyed it. Congrats, Water Bear. Congratulations on your win. Really showing what was possible with Rise of the Elements. And then obviously look forward to Galaxies this week. So woohoo!
But more, when's the
Oh God!
Had to get it in there, but before Mortdog has a conniption, thank you to everyone who watched the tournament. Huge shout outs again to GiantSlayerTV. Make sure you guys are following all the socials. If you're here in the chat, all the links are going to be spammed in the chat right now. I'm sure if you're watching in YouTube land, check the links in the description below because Giant Slayer is doing a ton of tournaments. They're doing a ton of guides. And they're also doing cool game nights with hosts. I don't know who that is. It's me. But definitely huge shout outs to them and to everyone who's in the TFT community, because for myself, it's just been amazing being a part of this community and doing content for it. So keep them coming. And thank you again, everyone, for watching the Set 2 finale here for Mortdog. I am Blevins. Thanks again from Giant Slayer TV, and we'll see you guys next time.